TV. Race war in Texas, the Karmelo Anthony trial. Before we get into that, y'all be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the house of revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform. Y'all, a lot of racist, disgusting behavior going on in the deep south right now. We got to pay attention to this trial. So when it go all the way up, y'all on point. Let's get into the content. Salute. We got to pay attention to this trial
that Judge John Roach is behind closed doors making right now that could have a major impact, not only on the outcome of this trial, but also on the public perception of it. The prosecution has used its strikes to remove 3 prospective jurors who are black. They made up 100% of those who are qualified who are black to serve on this jury. Now, the defense is protesting this vehemently, arguing that it violates legal rulings. As anyone who has followed this case knows, race has become a talking point even well before this trial because the defendant is black and the victim was white. The prosecution argues that the circumstances surrounding this case, being a school fight in a school stadium, make it, quote, race neutral, meaning that race did not play a factor in the crime, and the makeup of the jury doesn't have to legally reflect that. The judge is expected to make a ruling at any minute. In the meantime, here's a recap of what happened earlier today. Inside the Collin County Courthouse, the process of selecting the men and women who will fill these 12 seats in the courtroom of Judge John Roach continued behind closed doors. Karmelo Anthony appeared on a live camera feed sitting at a table with his attorneys wearing a dark suit and tie, while his attorney, along with prosecutors, continued the work of finding a jury that would give him a fair trial. When prosecutors asked prospective jurors if media coverage of the case has led them to form opinions, several admitted that it had, with one replying, "I don't know if it's going to affect me, but I can't tell you those thoughts are not inside my head." Another prospective juror, who identified as an educator in Frisco ISD, where both the defendant and victim attended separate high schools, said, "This is close enough to home that I'm not confident that I could be completely fair." Potential jurors were also asked if the age of the 19-year-old defendant, who was 17 when authorities say he fatally stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet, would influence their judgment, as well as his race. One prospective juror, who prosecutors identified as African-American, said he would have a hard time putting a brother in jail. Anthony's attorneys plan to argue that
I gotta blame some of these black jurors, bro. I don't know if they didn't want to just get on trial, but stupid shit like that. You're supposed to do what the white jurors are saying. Say, no, I can be fair. I can hear this case out. For these black jurors to say, oh, man, I don't know if I could do the right. What the fuck, bro? They trying to throw the case. That's crazy to me, bro, that black jurors had the audacity to tell the truth.
That the defendant stabbed Metcalf, who was unarmed, in self-defense after an altercation. Prospective jurors were asked if they would hold it against Anthony if he didn't testify. One prospective juror said he would, saying silence is deafening. It matters. It's difficult to ignore. But a question from Anthony's attorney, Mike Howard, drew the ire of several prospective jurors when he asked them, "How do you feel about the country's immigration policies?" A number of them refused to answer, saying it was irrelevant. And again, we are awaiting this decision by the judge on the defense motion to cancel these 3 strikes of black jurors from the prospective jury pool. The judge is going to make a decision on that. Tomorrow, when opening statements begin, we'll get our first look at the makeup of this jury. The prosecution and the defense both got 13 strikes out of a pool of more than 500 prospective jurors. That was whittled down to 250 today. But again, this is going to be a major decision. We're waiting, and we will bring it to you when we get it. Live in McKinney, JD Miles, CBS News, Texas.
Let's start with something I think some people may have missed here. Very telling. When the prosecutor asked him a question about the immigration, some of you may be wondering why he asked that question. I think I know why he asked it. Because the answer to that question tells him a lot about your politics. Yeah, that's politics. He wants MAGAs. He wants MAGA and people like me who are against, well, I already began, so now people like me, right? But people that are against open borders, that's more of a MAGA characteristic as far as political, alignments go. That's why they call me a white supremacist, because for some reason, a lot of black folks are Democrats. We know the reason. Because they only feel like they got two parties, and they've been told so often that the Republicans are racist, and the Republicans don't do much to change that. In fact, they lean into it whenever it helps them win other votes, white people votes who are conservative or more conservative. But see, they want to make sure they get the right demographic in there. So they're already getting rid of all the blacks. Now they want to get rid of anybody who may be even friendly to the blacks, who may even be progressive. So they want to, you don't want to just get rid of us. You want to also get rid of people that, the diehard liberals, progressive types, the ones that may not be garbage, the ones that might be, fond of humanity, so to speak. So that's why he did it. That's what I believe. That's what's behind that. So it doesn't look good for Karmelo Anthony right now, man. This is not good. You get all the black people off for a reason. Oh, no, it's not racial. Anything that has mixed race in it when it comes to America is racial. Anything. I don't care what it is. Definitely, it's an issue. So why are all the black people gone? No black people at all. Damn. This is not going to end well, fam. It started off horrible. Because even if you say, oh, Tim, there might be some white folks that stick up for him. I mean, come on, Johnson. That's true. But the fact they dismissed all of the black. Here's the thing. If they dismiss all the white jurors, will people be so cool with it? Yeah, the people that are going to talk shit, what would they say if the prosecutor got rid of all the white jurors? We already know what they would say, right? We already know. There'll be about 100 live streams. There'll be 100, that ain't enough. There'll be 1,000 live streams going on every hour of the hour, on the hour, with white folks complaining. That's what will be happening right now. So that's why I try to tell people, man, you cannot fall into this thing where you like, hey, I want to be nice. I want to be a good person. I want to do unto others as I would like them to do unto me. Problem is, when the shoe's on the other foot, they're not doing unto you. They're doing you. Okay, that's what's happening. So you want to be nice, and they're not trying to be nice. They're trying to win, dum-dum. So then you can sit up there, let everybody go. You're at the intersection, the merge, being nice. And you'll sit there for 20 minutes. You ever made that mistake? You're going through a door and you're holding it for the person behind you, and somehow you hold it for too many people, and now you become the door guy? They don't even put $1 in your pocket. They just keep coming in. All of a sudden, you become the help. That's what's happened to a lot of black people because they're trying to be nice. They're trying to, get rid of the stereotypes. Yeah, I had to make some decisions on this channel. Was I going to worry about the way people perceive me, or I'm going to worry about what I know to be true? Am I going to stand on business, or I'm going to be liked by people that I don't even know, who ain't even taking time to go through my 7,000 video catalog? I think y'all know what I chose. So what I'm trying to tell you is that there are going to be people that are going to say, oh, come on, it's not about race. What are you talking about? These are people that belong to a group. They used to lynch our asses. That still lynch our asses. To this day, black Americans are coming up missing all across this country. And they act like it's not happening. Because maybe I take them at their word. Maybe they're not doing it. So because they're not doing it, they think it doesn't exist. Can't be real. You're just being a victim. You're playing victim. Because I didn't personally do it, then I don't believe it's real. That's all made up stuff to keep you complaining and to keep me winning. Yeah. So unfortunately, folks, this is not a good result. Remember, young Karmelo Anthony is looking at 5 to 99 years in jail if convicted on all counts. And in fact, they have not a single black person on that jury. I don't feel good about this at all, fam. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I do not feel good about it. They want to tell you it wasn't intentional, that this was done just in a pursuit of, people had different opinions and they didn't have the right disposition, and they said they would be, somewhat compromised in their beliefs, and we had to let them go. Yeah, okay. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. If that would have went the other way, if it was a black kid who was killed by a white kid, and suddenly, somehow, mysteriously, just during the course of jury selection, all the white people were gone from the jury. All the white people? Yeah. It'd be a problem for the white people. It'd be a problem for Fox News. It'd be a problem for various entities. It would be a problem. You know what? You never see that happen. You know why you won't see it happen? Because we don't have the power to do that. And even if we did have a prosecutor and a judge sitting up there, you know what they'd do? They'd fold like a wet box left out in the rain. A cardboard box left in the rain. That's how quick they'd fold. Yep. That's how quick they'd fold. Because we don't stand up like that. Not when it's our ass on the line. We just don't, man. Very few of us do. Very few of us. I'm not saying everybody, because we got some people that stand up. Then they realize standing up don't actually get you much, often, right? So then those numbers become less likely for them to stand up the second time. But, I'm one of those people, I try to stand up. I do my best to stand up every day. And I'm just telling you, those folks, those judges, those prosecutors, I don't see them doing it, even if we had the power to do it. So, you hear a lot of people making a lot of claims online. They make a lot of content. If the shoe was on the other foot, and it was the black was the victim, Karmelo was the victim, and Austin Metcalf was the alleged assailant or committer of the act. And then the jury had no white people on it. Yeah, they'd be worse than me about this. They'd be worse than me. They would be screaming reverse racism. They're trying to replace us and all this shit. Now it'd be just a whole heap of that going on. But since it's us, they want to convince you that you don't believe your blind eyes and don't listen to radicals like Tim Black trying to rile you up, and that you need to listen to Officer Tatum. Yeah, and the Cartier family and other cornballs who are just out here trying to get some money. You need to listen to Anton Daniels. That's a good person. He's a good black for you to listen to. He says what we want him to say. All right, fam. I'm going to give it to you straight. I've got a bad feeling about this. That jury selection gives me a bad feeling. I do not see white Americans, an all-white jury, not convicting Karmelo Anthony of something. That's how I see it. Keep it real with yourself. I know it's going to be unpopular because, I realize that sometimes people don't want. I'm telling people straight what I believe straight up. And I'm not going to lie to you for the Democrats or Republicans, but I'm not going to lie to you about the reality of this country either. And some people make me feel like that's what they'd rather I do so they can feel better. I'm like, damn, what part of the game is this shit? I'm supposed to lie to you? Damn, this is getting way more complicated than I thought. So I got to not be a sellout. I got to keep it a buck. I got to fuck up my career. I got to mess up my opportunities. I have to say no to all this shit that will make me move further ahead because nobody really, with it popping, want to help a brother because I'm competition. And then, and somehow while doing all that shit, I got to also find a way not to hurt your feelings. I got to also lie to you on occasion because you don't want to hear the truth about the situation. It's too much work, man. Can I just sell my soul or something? Because it's a lot of shit to keep in one's head. I mean, I'm one guy. And all I'm saying is don't look good. How would it look good, man? That 12 white people get to decide the fate of this young black man who killed a white kid in Texas. Do you really need me to say it? Am I wrong for saying that? That may be a bad guy. I know Stephen A. Smith would never say it. He started talking some bullshit about Kumbaya, and we all just Americans, and we all bleed blue.
I'm in Texas, and I can guarantee they're gonna regret this trial, bro. They don't even know what they're doing to themselves. They're destroying themselves, and they don't even understand. They can lock their little brother up if they want to. They're gonna pay for it. They're gonna wish they would have let their little brother go. Thus says the Most High. They're gonna reap what the fuck they sowing. I guarantee you
that. Red and all this bullshit. See, that's the thing. They don't like keeping it 100. And that's why I can't totally throw away Democrats, because some of them, even Bakari and Van Lathan would agree with me on this shit. They would not blindly be doing the, everything's fine and it's going to be okay. And it's, we all Americans and all that bullshit. See what I'm saying? And that's why I say, I can't be a Republican or a Democrat, because both of them are full of shit. Get my point now? Because they don't want to keep it real. Because to be a Republican right now would be to deny. Michael Singleton is probably denying this. If we were having a conversation right now, would Michael Singleton admit America's racist and that the probability of Karmelo Anthony, him being found out guilty, just went downhill dramatically based on the jury selection? Would he admit that? I don't think he would. I'm not saying he's not a good guy. He came on his show. We had a good conversation. But would he admit that shit? Knowing what's going to be waiting for him on the other side of that? Huh? And that's why I can't rock with him, because they got people like Anton Daniels, they want to lie to you. He's going to lie for white people, even though black people, majority of black people with a brain cell that works in their heads will say he's full of shit for saying it. They still want him to lie. Because there's 5% of black people that are dumb enough to believe that they really are in a post-racial society when it comes to blaming white people. In fact, they want you to believe that any racism that exists in this country is against white guys. So, I'm going to continue to track this story. YouTube been sticking it to me on this. I did a lot of work on the Karmelo Anthony up to this point, and they suppressed the hell out of my last video on it. Who knows why? That's what they did. But if you could go watch my Karmelo Anthony playlist, this will be coming out tomorrow. This clip, I'll edit this out and make a clip of this, because I truly believe this is an important subject. And it's one of those rare times, in real time, fam, I get to show you exactly what I'm talking about. When I say I can't be either Democrat or Republican, because this is a perfect example. Because right now they will want me to lie, to toe the line for them and say, oh, America, but you got to be siding with what's right. And we have to go with the blah, 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 blah. And I cannot lie to y'all. I will not lie for Republicans. I will not lie for Democrats. We have an imperfect union. Now, we got some racist motherfuckers here. That's what that is. Can we say that? Oh, I'm sorry. That's too That's too raw for you? I'm sorry. Get over it. Walk it off. Austin Metcalf was never in jeopardy of not having a fair trial. We know that. And with all the history of everything that's happening in this country, even what's happening now in this country, Black people are less likely to get called back for job interviews. That ain't changed. All you got to do is have a Black sounding name. There you go. 40% less chance of being called back, even when the credentials were identical. And they'll tell you, oh, no, you're being a victim for no reason. This is just, there you go with your victim mentality. You can rise above it. White people don't have to rise above that. White people do not have to rise above Black people throwing their resumes in the trash because they appear to be white. They don't have to rise above that. But we got goofies, we got liars and shysters and scam artists and scambos that'll tell us, other Black people, working class Black people, that we are being victims for pointing out the obvious shit. Oh, come on, Thelma. They like hire whoever's most qualified, they hire what the best person for the job. Yeah, what you don't understand, for some people, the best qualified, that word best is relative. And for them, that means best fit. And for them, best fit is somebody white. Dumb. You were born yesterday? So there was never a question if Austin Metcalf was going to receive an opportunity of justice, him and his family. Because Austin Metcalf is gone. Right? But it's always a question. Oh, it's always a question. If a Black defendant will receive fair justice. It's already bad if you don't have money, but it gets worse. It's much worse when you're Black and you don't have money. That's the way our country's built. That's the way our country's set up. All right, let's keep it moving, man. I want y'all to hit me up in the comments.
So I have no apologies for delineating. We should have been delineating. For real. And speaking of court cases and juries, because again, we got to watch when people say, yeah, it's not a all white jury. We got Black people on the jury. Which Black people do you have? What Black people do you have? You put a bunch of tethers on there. We're still in hot water. Now, down in Texas, in the Karmelo Anthony case, that's revving up right now, they did jury selection. Man, the word is they got an all-white jury down there. If that's a red flag, that's not a good look. They done already got an all-white jury. What city is that? Is that Fort Worth? Where my Texas people? Yeah, they got an all-white jury. And somebody said some Middle Eastern. That's white tea. That's still white tea. Don't be fooled by that. McKinney. Okay, where are my Texas people? Where is that? Frisco, Texas. How far is that from Dallas, Fort Worth? What other city is that by? I don't know my way around Texas like that. What city is that by? What major city is it by? Frisco, Arlington, North Dallas. Okay. About 15 minutes to Dallas. Got it. Okay, so somebody wants to get up. Black Facts, hop on Black Facts, and I'll let you up. Hopefully you're going to talk about what we're talking about. I hate when we're talking about something and somebody call up with something completely different. Black Facts, hop on in, man.
Hey, what's good? What's good, bro? Yeah, I'm in that area. So Frisco It's Collin County, which is Plano, Frisco, and some other areas. It's like 20 minutes outside of Dallas. It's a real prominent area, but it is flooded with them tethers, man. It's flooded with Middle Easterners. So yeah, just like you said, it's gonna be a mix of YT people and Middle Easterners, bro. And it's now there was some good news that I found out earlier though.
Yeah.
Because they try to make the moral implication that because he had the poker, that's what we'll call it, it was illegal for him to have it. But I think the defense has already kind of got rid of a juror. I think it was juror 64, because they said that even if they found out that he could have the poker legally, they still think he was wrong. So I think that's the only good thing I've heard so far that came out of what they've been discussing. But yeah, it's mainly YTs and Indians out here, man.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. Thanks for the heads up, man. Thanks for the, yeah. So yeah, everybody's watching this case very closely. You got to watch this case because this is a very important case. So yeah, they're gonna put an all YT jury up there. See, there's like a loophole that they try to use. See, the system has a built-in mechanism with these juries. It's called the Batson Challenge. The Batson Challenge is supposed to prevent prosecutors from striking jurors purely based on race. But prosecutors, they know how to game that system. They just have to have a race-neutral reason and tell the judge they got to dismiss this black juror because they're biased or they seem like they're leaning towards a biased disposition. So they got little games that they try to play to get the black folks out of there. And they know that. And the fact that the prosecution was allowed to clear the entire board of black representation, that shows how easily the system's supposed safeguards are bypassed when a black defendant is on trial. You see? And the prosecution, I guess they tried to argue that they didn't need a diverse panel because the case is race neutral. You got a 17-year-old black kid accused of unaliving a YT kid in a highly publicized, racially charged environment. There's nothing race neutral about how the public or the jury is going to perceive this situation. And our brother Karmelo, he's pleading not guilty based on self-defense. So for a self-defense claim to work, the jury has to believe the defendant had a reasonable fear for their lives. So historically and psychologically, these YT juries, they have a documented tendency to view young black men as inherent threats rather than victims needing to defend themselves. So without black jurors, because they knew some FBAs, they weren't going to get up there and let them railroad that kid. So without black jurors in that deliberation room to challenge those biases, they get these white supremacists in these rooms and they get on this dumbass code with each other and stick by it. It'd be all irrational. I'm dealing with something like that out here in LA. We got this damn near all white community council board who's just doing all types of janky stuff to sabotage our museum. They always filing noise complaints and crowd complaints, and they always sending inspectors up there. They just sit behind the scenes doing little janky shit. They got little petitions going around trying to sabotage us. And thank goodness some of the black businesses let me know what they're doing. See, the black folks let me know, hey man, they got a weird petition going around trying to get some inspection violations on us because of the people who's coming in, and they be going in our garbage in the back of the museum, taking pictures of it. They do the most, dude. You think? And these are some damn Democrats, by the way. These are white tea Democrats doing all this shit. Yeah, dude. Man, yeah, you've been to the museum, man. It is that area is noisy as hell. Yeah, that noise, man. If y'all been to the museum, y'all know that area on Arlington and Jefferson. That's already that's a busy ass intersection. That's not a quiet place in any sense of the damn word. So, they do the I'm white tea and I say so shit on us. But yeah, you get these little community council organizations where it's all white tea and ain't nobody black there to check them. And then they do all types of shit, But understand, it's going back to Texas, though, with our brother Karmelo, man. With Texas, they got a massive black population. Like Dallas, Fort Worth, that area is very highly diverse. So you start a jury pool of almost 600 people in that region, and you get 12 jurors and 6 alternates with all the qualified black people systematically eliminated. That's not a damn accident. You got to do that on purpose. If you were not trying to get the black people out, you would have black people on that jury by damn accident. There's no way you wouldn't have a black person on that damn jury unless you are deliberately taking them out. That requires intentional maneuvering so that jury does not reflect the jury of his true peers. Who wants to come up? Who is this? Tanya, let's get Tanya. Let me get Tanya in here. Tanya, Sister Tanya, hop in. Yes, Karmelo is innocent. 100%. Tanya, what's up, beloved?
Thank you for letting me come up. Let me tell you what's happening outside the courtroom. They said they have 60 witnesses. Let me start there. There's a group, Metasapien 666. They group went down from different parts of the states to stand out there just to let them know we support this young baby.
Free Karmelo.
And we believe he's innocent.
Okay.
And it's like 10, 11 of them. That on the cross from them, there's a white supremacist group saying with one of the young fellow, one of the twins, picture up, and they got weapons. People, and it's a small group, and they said as many black people have not come out to support like that. They pulling up to them saying, what is going on down here? It's black people down here. And they explaining to them that we just here to support them. We're not here to, no ruckus. So as they're sitting in their little area, just out there to support them, not really saying much, all kind of YT people ride by, calling them the N-word, calling them out their name, laughing, just real childish. You know what I mean, Tariq, when they get real childish and petty. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's what's going on. And I mean, they just came to just let them know that, we care about this young black man fighting this self-defense case.
Right. There it is. All right. Thank you so much, beloved. I appreciate you, Tanya. But yeah, this is a very important case, man. And the stakes are high, man. A lot of people are looking at this case very, very closely. And, there's a danger to trying to railroad this kid. People are looking at this case very closely because there's already a lot of cases out here with injustice. As we already saw with our brother out there, Cyrus, being unalive. Look, they're making the block hot. Every 20 years, every 15, 20 years, the white tea supremacists, they start doing shit, and then there's an uprising, and then they get some act right, and then they wait another 15, 20 years to start it again. It's just a continuous cycle. But listen, the erasure of black excellence. We're talking about a young brother who did everything society told him to do. Karmelo had a 3.7 GPA. He's the captain of the football and the track team, held down a job. Brother didn't have no criminal record. So them trying to railroad him, that's a problem. They're trying to send a chilling message to the community, like your achievements, your character, your record, that's not going to protect you from the white tea supremacists. And people are already on edge. Well, these injustices going back to back. We got Chud and all that. We just too much stuff going on out here.
They doing it on
Rick
purpose.
Chow walking free. Man, it's too much.
They doing it on purpose. You got to understand the small hats. They playing the white people to go at us like they have played them forever. A lot of these white people think they own slaves. They didn't do shit. They was as poor as the slaves was. The small has been running everything and playing them. They need a race war to keep the white supremacists who backing them across in Israel and all over. They need to keep them in power, bro. And how do you do that? You got to get them worked up. Don't nothing get white supremacists worked up like shit like this. But this not the 60s. It's going to backfire. And they're going to pay for their sins. We're going to crush them.
It's the match in the powder keg dynamic. The establishment acts shocked when the streets turn up, but they ignore the buildup. See, in the 2000 teens, we just saw injustice after injustice after injustice.
These motherfuckers don't even know what they doing to their sons, their nieces, they nephews that's in those Texas jails, nigga. Them brothers real pissed about this, nigga. They got access to these woods, nigga. Mark my words, you heard it here first. The prison's gonna get locked down real soon in Texas over this. They gonna regret this, bro, because it's already hostages in the motherfucking prisons right now. They gotta pay for this trial, bro.
And then the match to the powder keg was the George Floyd situation.
What talking about, nigga? I just got a call yesterday. I just got a call yesterday from a little homie to talk about other shit, nigga. I'm talking about this, nigga. And what's their temperature on this, nigga? And I want to know, do they need some commissary, nigga?
What situation happened?
Shit, nigga,
that was it. That was like, okay, everybody said enough is enough. That lit the whole country on fire. The whole country exploded. That was because it was already building up.
Deal with this, the real ones do.
That's why the white supremacists try to make it seem like we look at George Floyd as some kind of civil rights icon. He's not. He's not. But it was just that injustice was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. And people are just not going for that. And the thing is, Texas, they pride themselves on self-defense. You know, they always talking about stand your ground culture, self-defense, but
no. Hold on, I'm sorry. And now you right here, let's put you on the screen real quick on some screen. Helen Holmes say he can't wait for Karmelo to rot in jail. Good, brother. I put you on this live. You see what I'm saying? The Most High will not be mocked, nigga. You understand what I'm saying? You reap what you motherfucking sow, little homie. Yeah, I don't give a fuck if you black or if you white, boy. You spreading hate on my platform. You see what I'm saying? Knock, knock. Piece of hut, bitch.
The community is watching how those protections magically disappear when the defendant is a black male defending himself from a white T aggressor. So if Karmelo is stripped of his right to self-defense by a jury that refuses to empathize with him, that shows that the Second Amendment and the self-defense laws are racially conditional. And that double standard, that destroys whatever remaining faith the community has in the legal process. When they start doing shit like that, when you show people that the legal process can't be trusted because it's racial and it's enforced and practiced based on race, the system is illegitimate. And an illegitimate system, people are just not going to follow it. They're going to start hitting the streets and doing things their way. You see?
Salute. You already know it's going to be some
it's heavy
battles, Duke. Salute, fam.
Oh, man. Let me get some of the family in here. Raise those hands. Raise those hands. Raise those hands. Ladies and gentlemen, raise those hands. Gypsy Hustle, hop on, Gypsy. Hold on. I had you on the other day. Hold on. I'll get you back up in a second. I lost you.
Got me fucked
Hold on. We got a lot of people in here.
I'm finna run this motherfucker.
Let me see. Malcolm.
I'm finna run this motherfucker up this month. We're gonna send some extra into some of my brothers that's locked up. Because, see, I know how to do this. I know how to do this, bro. They gonna regret that. I know they love Lil Johnny, Lil Danny, Lil Daniel. You know what I'm saying? Them punks who be getting extorted in that nigga. No whites. This is Texas. You don't know who control it. I'm finna show. We gonna see who control them prisons. For all these motherfuckers wishing hate on our brothers. Cool, my nigga. Cool. It's some gladiators. They ain't got nothing to lose. They just need commissary in them Texas prisons.
Brother Malcolm.
Nothing to lose, bro.
Malcolm, hop on it, Malcolm. Oh. Hey, Malcolm, what's up, Malcolm?
I got it.
How you doing, Tariq? What do you have to say about Kevin Hart and the roast?
Okay, Rohan, what are you doing with all these weird accounts, man?
That's AI. The forehead, if you can see clearly, he has a big forehead.
God damn, Rohan, get your ass out of here, you carrot head ass dude. Get out of here.
Up, nigga. We gonna show, right, we gonna show the motherfucking world this ain't the 60s. Texas gonna stand up to all our brothers on different coasts, in the Midwest, in the South, on the West Coast. You see what I'm saying? On the East Coast, nigga. Watch this demonstration that's displayed down here in Texas, nigga. We're gonna make y'all proud of us. Y'all hold the line where y'all at. We got this shit, bro. We got this. I promise you we do.
Y'all raise your hand.
I promise you we do.
Good Lord. Okay, hold on, Gypsy. I'm trying to get you in here. The chat is moving so fast. Gypsy, hold on. Go ahead, Gypsy. Hop on, Gypsy.
Hey, I'm gonna be real brief. So I saw this this reporter basically do like a transcript that they typed out of what people were answering for questions, and a lot of them.
But I already told you, revolutionary, bro. You see what I'm saying? These Tiger Woods, these racist bastards who just out and about, they coming out here with their Confederate battle flags. Good, great. Nigga, red light, green, tag you it, bro. All these motherfuckers with Confederate symbols and lightning bolts on them in the state of Texas. Because this trial, get active, bitch. You part of this.
Black people. I know it was like 3 responses that I saw specifically where they were being way too honest, saying like, oh, I don't think I could convict a young black man. Like, why would you say that?
Right.
When you know we need y'all on a jury? So, and then who's to say if they were one of us or not? They just had the skin color.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe you can find that in like
those black jurors, those 3 black jurors who purposely got themselves off that jury. We need to find out their identity, not to hurt them. I don't know if they took a bribe. They could have been bribed. We need to check their bank accounts. They tried to take a dive. Nobody in the world would have said, I don't know if I can do this the right way. Those white people feel a certain way about their brother, but they pretended like they was going to be just. They've been pretending like that from the beginning of the time. And what's so crazy is the law say you got to have a jury of your peers. The whole world know that's not a jury of that man peers, bro. So however this shit go, if they convict him, that alone going to bring that man back to court. I can guarantee you, that jury alone will bring that man back to court under federal guidelines. That's just a fact. But they playing real dirty. We love dirt. We know I get dirty.
Look through it and get some more context on it. But yeah, a lot of people were also saying that they didn't feel that they could convict a young man, somebody that age, and send him to prison for life. So great idea, wrong time to be totally honest.
Right. But yeah, the all white tea jury, they'll sit up there and get on code and throw the book at him. So we got to really, really watch this case. Yeah, and I saw that. Well, why would a juror say some stupid shit like that? You know? Let me see. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Y'all raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand and throw the gifts up. Do we get the gifts? Can we get gifts? We got gifts going? Okay. Let me see. Y'all raise your hand. I'm trying to get East Side. Hold on. All right, East Side, hop on in. Mr. East Side, hop on in, please. All right. Let me see who we got. East Side, waiting on East Side to get in. There's some stuff going on. Let's get
protests. And we laughed at them. We mocked them because we didn't like how the 60s struggle went down. But I'm not mocking none of those brothers and sisters who on the front line clashing with those racist bastards holding those signs. Those are heroes. And I'm proud of them. But what those brothers need to know is it's some most serious people who going to handle the serious shit. They just need to stay on the front line, clashing, battling. We see it on the news. That's great, legendary work. But then the real soldiers, y'all know what the fuck y'all got to do. Sleeper cells all over the place. One-man band all over the place. Lightning bolts, webs, all that skinhead shit. Nigga, tag, you it, nigga. You it.
Be humble. Let me get some more people while we're waiting on East Side. Let me see.
I'm trying.
Now, who got? Be humble. Be humble.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Oh, you.
Oh, get him.
There we go.
East Side, are you good? What's going on, East Side?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up, brother?
Oh man, Easter deal, man. Check this out, man. I got a question for you. Do you think this could be like payback for Amber Geiger getting sent up, and plus, with Michael Johnson, like, you know what I'm saying, handling those race soldiers down there in Dallas?
Yeah, thank you. It could be, but yeah, they just get revenge on us for just being black. Yeah, they don't even need a pretext. They just use all of that stuff as a proxy. They don't need a pretext.
I can dig it. I'm on my way.
Where you going, Rootwork Jones?
There's some musty suckers on the streets. I got to go handle that. I got to split, baby. Can you dig it?
When you need to clean the stank off the streets, you don't call your mama. You call Rootwork Jones. Rootwork Jones is a stone cold
Yeah, well, obviously, first and foremost, I think this is the only defense that, the defense has of self-defense. If you read the police report, it's right there in black and white.
Let me put it like this. If Austin never decided to take it upon himself to assault Karmelo, he'd still be alive. Let's just put it like that. So the white supremacists over at Fox News are absolutely panicking after they made the mistake of bringing on an expert attorney, Mark Astor, who revealed to them that Karmelo Anthony might possibly have been handed a get out of jail free card as a result of the racism of the prosecutors who are trying this case, this murder case with Karmelo Anthony, who of course who has been charged with first-degree murder of Austin Metcalf. So we're going to dive into that situation. We're going to listen to what this expert defense attorney, who has also prosecuted criminals as well, right? We're going to see what he had to say, and he's going to explain exactly how the greed, the racist greed of the prosecutors may have secured Karmelo's freedom, regardless of whether or not he should be held accountable to any degree, punished to any degree for his actions. This is a problem with racists. You see, they want to treat their own fairly or even give them, privilege, but they want to do too much, right, when it's a black person. And in them trying to do too much, well, then they've possibly put him in a position where he will not be penalized at all, right? And so, as usual, they are their own destruction. So here we have Karmelo Anthony on the left, Austin Metcalf on the right, and they were both 17-year-old teenagers when this happened. It is truly a tragedy what happened on both sides. We had a young boy who lost his life, and we had another young boy who has possibly put himself in a position where his life is going to be ruined for the rest of his life. So here, let's read an official statement from a police officer who was on the scene the day this incident occurred. This is coming from the official arrest report. On Wednesday, April 22nd, 2025, Officer Taylor Wetzel was assigned to work patrol in the city of Frisco. At approximately 10:02 hours, I responded to the report of a stabbing at David Koo Kendall Stadium located at 88257 Street. The original call notes stated an athlete had been stabbed in the chest and that the subject that stabbed the victim goes to Sentinel High School. Athletic trainers were on site and were providing care to the victim and advised he was not conscious and not breathing. The notes also indicated that the suspect was a black male with a goatee and short hair wearing Sentinel gear. I arrived on scene at approximately 10:06 hours. When I arrived on scene, I grabbed a roll of crime scene tape from my truck and proceeded to the visitors' bleachers, where dispatch advised the victim was. While I was walking towards the visitors' bleachers, I was approached by a witness who identified himself as redacted, and he began telling me what happened. And as I asked him where the stabbing occurred, redacted advised it had happened under the Memorial High School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. I immediately informed Sergeant Otis where the witness stated the stabbing occurred and gave him the crime scene tape to start securing the crime scene. I then had redacted move to the walkway under the visitors' bleachers out of the rain, so it was in fact raining, to further speak with me. The following, which is, of course, why he was under the tent in the first place. Okay, the following is a summary of my contact with Redacted. Advised he was sitting under the Memorial High School pop-up tent with his team and was near the victim, Austin, and the suspect, who was later identified as Karmelo Anthony. Anthony was from Sentinel High School and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under their team's tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." No one really thought Anthony really had any weapons in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. Okay, now let's pause here. Now notice what Karmelo allegedly said. Touch me and see what happens. This is not provocation. Okay, right? If somebody comes up to you and is talking shit in your face, talking about, "Hey man, I'ma smack you," and you say, "Oh yeah, well smack me and see what happens next," that is not you daring anybody to smack you. That is not provocation. You are being the provocateur. You are the one getting up in somebody else's personal space. You're the one that is infringing upon their bodily autonomy, and you're the one threatening them. They tell you, "Hey, by the way, if you do something to me, you're not going to like what happens next. Touch me and see what happens." This is not daring anybody to do anything, as a lot of these white supremacists like to paint the situation. We continue. So we see Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what Redacted recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest, and then began to run away, and then ran away. And so we see Austin put hands on Anthony twice, right? Now, I don't want to deliberate the situation. Like we said earlier, we don't have all of the information, right? Context is everything. Tonality is everything. Attitude is everything. We don't know what the body language was at the time of this, right? And I haven't seen any eyewitness statements that have sounded incredibly charitable to Karmelo, right? So all of these statements could be coming from people who are biased towards Austin. But the point is, if we were to just make this another situation where it's a white guy, he has a gun, right? Black guy comes up to him and telling him he needs to get out of here. And the white guy is like, "Hey man, you better leave me the fuck alone, right? If you mess with me, you're not going to like what happens next," right? And then the black guy grabs him. The white guy gets off of him and is like, "Hey man, touch me and see what happens." And the black guy hits him again, and the white guy shoots at him. Well, all of these Fox News people would be saying that was completely justified. All right. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everyone to get help. Redacted advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another Memorial Trap member, was friends with Anthony and that he could identify Anthony. So again, look at that. Somebody under the tent was friends with Anthony. So Karmelo was there. He was there with a friend, and it was raining. This Austin Metcalf dude seems like a bully.
Okay. Magnimus, the primitive Karmelo provoked him, so it's not self-defense. Well, you are provoking me. You see what I'm saying? I feel threatened by clowns like you. I don't care if you're black, you're white, you're Asian. You're gonna get everything you're looking for and more. You just stay tuned. I hope you want to get active behind your words, because we want to get active behind this. I done put you on my live, so we know exactly who you is. We don't want no harm to come to you, but the Most High say you reap what you sow. So I believe that.
That took it upon himself to remove somebody from the tent for no reason. Probably because he was racist. But anyway, we continue. Redacted described Anthony as a black male, skinny with a goatee, short puffy hair, and wearing Sentinel High School clothing. This concluded my contact with Redacted. I was then instructed to start a crime scene log. I retrieved blah, 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 blah. So that's coming straight out of the mouth of somebody who was literally there and saw everything unfolded. Okay. Anyway, all of this happens. Right? Anthony, he is arrested. He is charged. His bail is initially set, I think, to $1 million. They end up reducing it to $250,000.
Y'all who just y'all good people living y'all life. I'm already ready to go all the motherfucking way. I'm loving they antagonizing y'all. This is a reward for me because then all my people get on the front line and we just deal with them. I love this. They don't understand what's finna take place. I do. I want all of them to keep typing, keep disrespecting us. We know how to deal with this shit. They the cowards. They the ones who put the Second Amendment into place because they know they get punched, slapped, handled real rough, so they cowards. But those days are over with. You see what I'm saying? We ain't got nowhere to go. This is our country. It's something got to give. And the time is now.
$1,000. He makes bail, right? So he's been on house arrest for pretty much.
I hope it's worth it because our little kids in the high schools, they ready. The junior high, they ready. Us out here, we ready. We ready on the job. And all of their loved ones who went to those prisons for whatever crimes they committed, they are in danger. I'm not doing it. They're doing it to them. They are in danger. They're going to be getting letters from them people talking about how dangerous it is. A couple of Texas prisons going to get locked down. I don't know the fate of those white supremacists. But you reap what you sow. Keep marking the Most High's people. I told people it's a time for peace. I said peace. You didn't want to hear that. That is the fucking time for war. And I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Last year, but not in jail. Now we fast forward. The trial begins yesterday. Or the day before yesterday, rather, within the last 48 hours, the jury was selected. And here's where we're going to get to how these racists may have bitten off more than they can chew because they're getting too greedy. Instead of charging him with manslaughter, instead of charging him with second-degree murder, they were hungry. They were greedy for it. They wanted to give him first-degree murder. They pushed it a step further. They eliminated all potential black jurors from the jury. There is not a single black jury member that will be judging this case, right? Which is insane. They did that, and a lot of the white people are celebrating this because they're saying, oh, well, look what happened to OJ. Yeah, well, let's look at the thousands of cases where black people in this country have not been given justice and were not tried fairly because the jury there were no black people on that jury. See, this is how the white supremacist thinks. They think of one situation where things may have unfairly went in the favor of a black person, and so they want to never make things fair for black people again. They completely forget all the times things went unfairly for a black person because of the racism of white people, right? And so they're celebrating this. But take a listen to what this expert lawyer has to say on the matter. It's very interesting.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox, and we want to switch gears here and pivot to a case that has really grabbed the nation's attention here. I want to bring this post from Fox 4 News up on your screen here. This says opening statements began Thursday in the murder trial of Frisco ISD students Karmelo Anthony after a jury with no black members was finalized following a contested selection process. So we want to bring you here what we know of the latest.
It's crazy. Life is like that. But sometimes we need a revolutionary martyr to get our juices flowing. We didn't want it to be that, man. The Most High picked him. He gonna be strong, and he gonna be all right if he do hit the prisons. The brother's not gonna let nothing happen to that man. They're gonna protect him with his life until he come back to get his time back because they're all white jury. But sometimes you need a martyr to get your people worked up. And that's it took this to see. God back was still against the goddamn wall. We have to fight.
Latest with this trial as it will be going on to day 2 today, as opening statements began yesterday morning in the murder trial of the Frisco ISD student accused of fatally stabbing another student at a track.
Right. Yeah. Look at this. This is the nastiness of the white supremacists. This is why they are their own downfall. They use Austin Metcalf's school picture. They use Karmelo Anthony's mugshot. Right. They could have used this image as well. Right. Well, of course not. They're racist. They hate him. They want him to rot in prison. But it's okay. Their own greed of evil is going to possibly be their own doing.
Track meet. Karmelo Anthony, now 19 years old, faces a murder charge in the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Police said Anthony.
Listen to just how he frames it.
faces stabbing another. The murder trial of the Frisco ISD student accused of fatally stabbing another student at a track meet. Karmelo Anthony, now 19 years old, faces a murder charge in the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf.
See that? No, Austin would also be 19, sir, if you were going. So what you should have said is Karmelo Anthony, who was charged and is being tried as an adult at the age of 17. He was charged at 17. Okay, he was being tried as an adult at 17. He's now 19. So they were both 17, but you see what they do. They're trying to make it a 19-year-old young man stabbed a 17-year-old boy. They were both 17, and Karmelo was far smaller and, surrounded by people who are being aggressive to him.
Police said Anthony and Metcalf got into an argument over seating in a stadium stands on April 2nd, 2025.
This is not true. They didn't get into an argument over seating. Austin was bullying Karmelo unnecessarily, trying to get him out of the tent to push him back out into the rain. Karmelo was there with a friend and wasn't bothering anyone. Not a single police report. You can read all the arrest reports. Not a single witness stated that this started because Karmelo was being a nuisance, because Karmelo was bothering people. If that's the case, then that would have been stated. Oh, he was getting loud and da-da-da with these people, and that's when Austin just told him to leave. It never starts like that. It all starts with Karmelo was sitting down, possibly talking to his friend, possibly minding his own business, when Austin, a much larger person, took it upon himself to want to bully Karmelo out of the tent for no reason.
Which escalated when...
Listen, this not no debate. Don't come here ask me no fucking questions. Sit your ass at home. Get out the fucking street. That you don't want no problems. Get it. Stay inside, brother. These niggas like you too. Why we gonna get freedom when Massa got all the guns, nigga? Then you won't never be free.
When Anthony allegedly stabbed Metcalf in the chest with...
Look at that. It escalated when Karmelo stabbed Metcalf in the chest. No, it doesn't. It escalated when Metcalf decided to physically assault Karmelo. This is how you get so many people that are misinformed in this situation, right? Oh, they were arguing over a seat and then Karmelo stabbed him with a knife. No, Karmelo was sitting down minding his business when he had to defend himself after being assaulted physically twice. Now, the question is, did Karmelo go too far? I think if there is any room for deliberation, that is the only room for deliberation. But it was self-defense. The moment you put your hands on... If you question
the revolution, you're in the wrong place. I'm a descendant of Thomas Daniel Sr., who fought to help liberate our people, fought in the Civil War. I know who my ancestors is. You niggas don't know what your people did, don't know what you're capable of. Don't fucking try to make me doubt my great lineage. Freedom is here, nigga. I'm not here to play, bro. Stay away from my motherfucking platform with any lack of courage.
It's on me, and I retaliate. I am acting in self-defense.
Pocket knife. The trial is expected to last approximately 2 weeks. If convicted, Anthony faces a maximum sentence of 5 to 99 years or life in prison. Now, to talk more about this and to break down the latest of the case, we want to bring in Mark Astor, a criminal defense lawyer and former prosecutor, onto the program here.
I'm so glad my ancestor Thomas Daniel Sr. didn't say that type of shit. Well, how we gonna free ourselves when they got all this and that? I'm glad he just got the bussing and shooting and killing.
Joining us this morning. So we heard opening statements yesterday. Anthony faces a murder charge and the defense is claiming self-defense. What evidence throughout this trial is going to be crucial, as we've already started to see some testimony yesterday from coaches? Well, what evidence here is going to be crucial for the jury members?
Yeah, well, obviously, first and foremost, I think this is the only defense that, the defense has of self-defense. If you read the police report, it's right there in black and white. They're claiming self-defense.
And it was self-defense. Austin assaulted Karmelo twice.
Obviously, the prosecutor is going to start bringing in eyewitnesses, people who saw this.
I like how he puts that. Oh, this is the only excuse he has. Let me put it like this. If Austin never decided to take it upon himself to assault Karmelo, he'd still be alive. Let's just put it like that. Okay.
People who saw the defendant flee from the scene. So we'll have some of the other students. We might have some of the teachers. We're certainly going to get the law enforcement officers who were on scene. The police report indicates that at least one of them had contact with the defendant. Another one also found the alleged murder weapon. So those are the kinds of things that are going to be brought out. Obviously, if there's some surveillance video, that's going to be coming in too. So that's the stage case. Civilians, law enforcement, any surveillance videos, and probably maybe even somebody from the medical examiner's office to talk about the actual cause of death.
And for a self-defense case, what needs to happen to be able to prove that for self-defense, especially when it escalates to a point where somebody died?
Well, I think from the defense perspective, they're going to have to establish that the force that was used was reasonable under the circumstances. And they're going to have to say, look, our client faced potentially a deadly force or even something where he could be subjected to,
grave bodily harm. That's the other thing that these fuckers like to leave out. It's not just, did he think that he was about to die? This is misrepresenting the justification for using lethal force. You don't need to just think, oh, well, maybe he'll only beat me within an inch of my life. No. Okay. If I have if I truly believe that you're about to hurt me in a very significant way, I'm a star athlete. I don't want you to fucking ruin my chances I'm talking to colleges. I don't want you to ruin my chances of going to fucking play Division I football, right? A serious injury. This is my senior year, right? A serious injury inflicted upon me because you're being a racist bully. That could fucking fuck me up. I want to protect myself. All right. And you're way too big for me to fight you. So what else am I supposed to do? I'm not saying this is exactly the justification or the argument that will be used. No, I'm just presenting to you that it does not require you have to only think that you're about to literally die. Okay.
This bodily injury. So he had no choice. He was outnumbered. The victim was larger than him. There were lots of people in the room, and he felt as if he had no choice but to use deadly force in order to protect himself. The problem with that is that the defendant he went into the area where the victim was to be found. He allegedly had that knife with him when he went in.
Neither of those two things are illegal.
He dared the victim to touch him.
That's not true. We saw from the police reports, he did not tell him to touch him. He warned him that if he did touch him, something bad would happen to him. This is not being dared to touch him.
Push him. And the argument's going to be...
He didn't say, come on, how about you come and hit me? Yeah, hit me, push me. He didn't do that. He said, hey, touch me and see what happens. Okay.
Prosecutor side is that he provoked it. He went in there looking for a fight. He dared the victim to do.
Wow, he went in there looking for a fight. If that happened, you would think that Karmelo would have been the person to initiate contact and conversation with Austin. We see from the police reports that is not at all what happened. Karmelo was minding his own fucking business when Austin decided to bully him. And that's exactly what he did. He bullied him.
And he did. And he was ready and prepared for this.
But, I love that this is the way this lawyer is speaking, because he's trying to pander to the racist, low IQ, white supremacists that watch Fox News. But even him, he can't deny the reality of the situation in regards to how the prosecution went way too far in trying to ensure they get a guilty verdict, and how this may have now given Karmelo a get out of jail free card. It's amazing. Check this out.
He took a knife to a fist fight. That's not a...
Actually, they overcharged him like they saying they did to Rick Chow. And they say they had to let Rick Chow off because they should have charged him with manslaughter. They supposed to charge Karmelo at the least with manslaughter. They actually, he tell the truth, overcharged him. So he supposed to beat it behind that. But this Texas, bro. But I tell you that all-white jury, the federal government, that shit can get overturned. He gonna come back to court. If they do convict him, he gonna come get that shit back, bro.
A fair fight, and you can't provoke a situation and then say, not my fault. I was acting in self-defense.
The fact that he has to lie about the situation, though, this should give you encouragement in regards to how things will actually play out. See, none of the things he said right now are true. He didn't dare Austin. He didn't provoke Austin. He didn't initiate contact with Austin. He didn't initiate physicality with Austin. None of these things are true. And so, but that's the narrative he has to paint to try and say, oh, well, here's why it's likely that he'll be found guilty, to try and appease the white supremacist watchers of Fox News.
And that's the dichotomy the jury's going to have to unpack in this case.
And then I also wanted to touch on the location of this as well, and where this happened, as there is we've heard from some testimony yesterday about what this revolves around in this tent.
Saying that Austin or Karmelo having a knife in his bag was him going with the intent to hurt people is essentially accusing every person who is lawfully walking around with a firearm of having the intent to kill people if they're ever assaulted and put in a position where they feel like they have to use it in order to protect themselves. That's what this lawyer is essentially arguing.
And they're at this track meet. So we heard from a Memorial High School coach, Robert Starr, who took the stand, and he explained to jurors that a tent at a track competition typically, quote, marks your spot. He said it's similar to team bench for sports. So what this case involves escalating from a seat dispute that we're getting from a Fox 4 report, how could we see testimony from coaches and other athletes really affect this case? And when it comes to something like where this happened, especially when they're saying with this tent, that kind of almost in some way marks a territory.
This is bullshit. Anybody who's ever ran track knows that at track meets, it is very normal for people to mix and mingle amongst each other. You're running for like 2% of the time you're at the track meet. The majority of the time spent at track meets are conversing with other people from other schools as an opportunity to hang out with your friends. As we saw, Karmelo had a friend that was under the memorial tent. And so this is absolute bullshit coming from fucking a bunch of nerds who never ran track in their life.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, we have two high schools that are potential rivals, and you've got the defendants going into the victim space. That tent area it's almost like it's a little bit of a house, right? You know, this is our home. You don't come into our home, and if you do, we have a right to protect that space. And according to the police report, the victim in the case said, hey,
okay, so you have a right to assault people if this is bullshit. This is not true.
Shouldn't be here. You need to leave, right? This is our space. Go to yours. And that's when, this incident started to escalate because the defendant didn't want to leave.
And now jurors were also shown great.
Yeah, and so that's why if you as a student really feel so passionately about this, again, remember you had a friend there, but besides that, go and talk to a coach. Go and talk to a teacher. Don't bully people. You don't have the right to put your hands on people.
Any surveillance video of what happened. It's from a camera.
You see, it's so crazy. All of these people, Austin was chimping out, right? Isn't that what fucking Chud the Builder would say? Austin Metcalf chimped out, right? He couldn't use his words. He had to get physical, right? He couldn't go to the appropriate authorities, right? He chimped out, and look what happened to him. So let's dive into the part where the lawyer explains how the prosecution, they truly fucked up by excluding Black people completely from the jury. Check this out.
Then I wanted to talk about that jury selection as well, as there's been some controversy about that, as well as there being no Black jury members on this trial. So can you explain to me the controversy behind that and how important jury selection is to a case? Can it really define its outcome here?
Yeah, jury selection is everything. If you can get the right jurors for your, who are hopefully going to see the case your way as a prosecutor, you're golden. But don't forget, you need 12 people on that jury who are going to find that you met a burden of proof. As the defense, I only need one person to say, hold on a second, this was a self-defense case, and my client potentially gets an acquittal. So right. There's the dichotomy in the jury selection. Now, the jury is supposed to reflect the community. It's supposed to be a jury of the defendant's peers.
Right.
And I think from the defense perspective, they potentially have a get out of jail free card here. Mm-hmm. And as a prosecutor, as a former prosecutor, I cannot believe the prosecution actually made this mistake to exclude all of the African-American jurors knowing you had an African-American defendant, knowing that you had a bunch of people outside the courthouse who feel that they're not, that their community, the African-American community, is not going to get a fair trial, I think is a big mistake.
Huge mistake.
You got to remember, as a
Violation of the civil
prosecutor,
rights.
you're not there just to convict. Your job is to make sure that the defendant gets a fair trial.
That's right.
And I honestly think if there's a conviction here, I think the appellate court is going to take a very hard look at this.
Look at that.
And potentially reverse this. This is a serious mistake
Look at
by
that.
the prosecutor.
Who don't know that? Who know the law? I ain't got to hear this bastard say that. He know it. He don't want to say that. You gave that man, if you convict him, he coming back and he gonna give that back because you had so much hate in your damn heart.
And jury selection.
Now listen to this fucking guy. He don't even really look full white. He probably a tap dancer too. Listen to how he starts to stutter because he wasn't prepared for this. He wasn't prepared for this truth bomb.
Election is one of the ways that an appellate court will reverse a conviction. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But if I was a prosecutor, I would never have done this. It's a mistake, and I think this is going to come back and haunt them.
And that you actually took the next question right from me. If we could see an appeal from this because he doesn't feel.
Listen to bro can't even get his words together because everybody who comes on Fox News, it's a propaganda news channel, right? They lie, they misrepresent things, all to pander to misinformed, lowly educated, racist white people. And so he just was not, especially, you remember the entire first portion of this interview, this attorney is saying all the things to appeal to the Fox News base, but this is a beautiful thing. And I know this firsthand because I know a white person who is in the field of medicine, highly educated, right? Lots of experience in the field of medicine, but they're conservative, right? They're Christian conservative. But when asked about vaccines, I asked them about vaccines, even though they're all the way on that side of the fence, they still had to admit that vaccines are safe and that they are a net positive for society, even though that person more than likely voted for Donald Trump. Why am I saying this is why they are demonizing people like Charlie Kirk, who was a domestic terrorist. This is why they demonize university. It's because that good education, it just undoes so many of the conservative talking points. The university is a breeding ground for progressivism because progressivism is synonymous with intellectualism. It is synonymous with being properly informed. And so here, his expertise and his education is overriding the desire to pander. He just can't bring himself to lie, right? Because he's an expert and he's like, listen, this was a bad decision.
Like he is represented by his peers.
Yeah, I mean, how can he? I mean, he's an African-American young man in an African-American community, and he has no African-American jurors to decide his fate. How can that possibly be fair?
Right.
Now, to the prosecutor.
And again, all you have to do, this is the thing that racist people are incapable of doing. All you have to do is flip it. Imagine if all of the members on the jury were black. Imagine there were no white people on this jury. The white people would be fucking so mad. The white people who are, Fox News fans, they would be so mad. They would believe, oh, this is outrageous. This is so unfair. Da 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 da. Not a single white person, but no black people. Oh, well, blah, blah, blah. I think that's perfectly fair. I think that's the only way we can ensure justice happens.
Point, I'm sure when the judge said, why are you striking this person? I think what they said was, we don't want any teachers on the panel, right? And when you do that once, okay, sounds okay. When you do it twice, maybe. But you start doing it 3 times and 4 times, you're like, hold on a second, there's a pattern here. And it's the pattern of striking those African-American jurors that I think is going to come back and bite the prosecution, in the proverbial backside. I really do. And I think the appellate court's going to find a problem with this.
Right.
And there was I'm reading some of these other articles.
He just goes on to stutter and say a bunch of bullshit. But yeah, and so there you have it, guys. It would appear as if, you see, what you resist persists, what you chase escapes. Instead of doing the right thing, instead of doing the fair thing, they were desperately chasing this particular outcome to the point where they operated in such a way as to almost ensure that Karmelo now has a get out of jail free card. But we'll see how things unfold, man. Another big problem with this case is that the jury was not sequestered, which basically means the jury is allowed to go home every day, watch the news, go on social media, see what people are saying about this case, which of course is going to influence the way that they feel. And so we have a non-black jury that is allowed to watch Fox News, that is allowed to go on social media and see what all of these white racists are saying, to watch Megyn Kelly, right? All of this is, and then they're going for first-degree murder, right? Premeditated murder when he was the one that was assaulted, okay? He was minding his business. All of this together is adding up to a situation where there is a very high probability that even if he is found guilty, the appeals court is going to overturn that guilty verdict. So, you know, we'll see how things unfold. Y'all let me know.
The master owner and every other person so giving correction shall be acquitted of all punishment and accusation for the same, as if such act while being corrected. Okay. And if any slave resists his master, owner, or other person by his or her order, correcting such slave, and shall happen to be killed in such correction, it shall not be counted felony, but the master, owner, and every other person so giving correction shall be acquitted of all punishment and accusation for the same, as if such accident had never happened. So that means that if you happen to be correcting someone and you beat them to death, you know how hard it is to beat someone to death? I mean, I thought about that. I said it happens so frequently that they created a law so that you wouldn't feel any what? No guilt, because you were simply correcting them. Wasn't your fault. So I went back to look at who was beating folks to death. I wanted to know. And it was white women. White women were beating black children to death. But it wasn't her fault. She was just correcting them. Then you had the mental health folks. This is how we got in. We got in to try to fix it. In the early years of the 19th century, a physician named Samuel A. Cartwright argued that two particular forms of mental illness caused by nerve disorders were prevalent among slaves. One was drapetomania, which was diagnosable by a single symptom, the uncontrollable urge to escape from slavery. So now what we've done is we've now pathologized your desire to be free. Must be something wrong with them. Keep trying to free themselves. And again, look at all the people joining in. You got Linnaeus, you got anthropology, you got physicians. All of them saying they deserve it. It's not us. We don't need to adjust anything. And if they just tried harder, how about you people just pull yourselves up from your bootstraps?
All right, y'all, stay with me. I got Dr. Joy up here for a reason.
What's the matter with you? The playing field has been leveled. Well, we're going to see if, in fact, it's been leveled. Move forward. Now, I want you to look at this photo very closely, and I want you to see who's in it. More important than the man hanging, because you got to understand the lynchings that occurred in America happened after slavery, not during. Thousands of lynchings happened after slavery, because this is a reaction to impact on white people. There it is, right there. Can't feel any empathy for him. None, zero zip. There's a little one back here, even smaller.
And now she about to bring it on home. I hope y'all still with me. And y'all following her point.
Because whatever she's been taught or told, socialized to believe, makes him no longer human. That's the greatest danger to white people, is that they can't feel it.
Hello, Friedman family and our riders. That was the beautiful elder, Dr. Joy DeGruy, once again, always speaking truth to power. Now, one of Dr. Joy's gifts is she's just amazing with her ability to break things down, relate what these people have done to us in the past, and explain how it still affects our mentality as well as theirs today. Pretty much, she's saying not much has changed. Now, speaking of today, I wanted to drop in and do this quick video. Now, Karmelo Anthony's trial has begun in Texas, and the jury looking real funny style. I'm seeing a lot more pale skin than black skin. Let's just put it that way. Now, before we go any further, please be sure to like this video and check us out on the African Diaspora News Channel app, guys, okay? In this video, I had to do a lot of censoring myself and keeping myself together because I'm on a different platform. But on the app, we don't have to do that. Anyway, guys, let's get into it.
Sam here with an update from a staff member who saw the video of the Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf altercation. He says, the video is very clear. You can even see the raindrops. You can see 4 boys walk up to Karmelo, who's under the tent minding his business. Now, there was 4 boys and a few others, he said. A couple of the others were distracting the coach while they jumped Karmelo. He said it was really in the rain delay. The twins and a few of their buddies, 4 of them and 3 other ones, one distracted the coach, and they surrounded Karmelo. A few seconds later, they jumped him. Austin pushed him. The twins were in the middle. They were all jumping Karmelo. Hunter said Karmelo threw his bag. That is not true. Hunter grabbed his bag, but it shows they threw his bag away. And under Texas law, you just have to fear for your life. They start hitting Karmelo. Karmelo tried to get away, but Austin pulls him in by the hoodie, he says, and they pulled him back under the tent. Austin then put him in a headlock. Karmelo got away, and then you see Austin grab his chest. But all the stuff about Hunter rendering aid, holding the blood in, was a lie, because he says the coach grabbed him away and pulled him out of the scene. Now, also on Fox 4, the staff member was saying they edited the photos of Karmelo to make it look like he had no injuries. But in the original photos, you could see his injuries. Karmelo had welts on his face, on his neck, and you could see locks of hair missing.
Just in case you need the backstory, here it is. Karmelo Anthony had an altercation at a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. Now, according to reports, Karmelo was under a tent at Frisco Memorial School during a track meet when a boy by the name of Austin Metcalf, a twin, by the way, who was one of them folks, and another football player noticed that Karmelo, a student, was from the opposing school, and he was sitting under their tent. Now, Metcalf and his brother told Anthony to move. When he didn't, Austin allegedly escalated the situation by trying to bully Karmelo, and that has been confirmed. Now, Anthony defended himself, and despite immediate medical attention, Metcalf later was unalive at the hospital. Now, Anthony was arrested at the scene and charged with unaliving. According to reports, Karmelo did admit to defending himself. Now, he was initially held on a $1 million bond, which was later reduced to $250,000. His family was able to pay due to the Black grassroots support and raising money for them. And the child got out and was placed on house arrest. Now, y'all know them folks was big mad about that, but got the nerve to really be bothered that Chud the Builder sitting in a cell after he done sat up here harassing Black people on camera. Now, them folks got all type of narratives going on here, okay? Because in their minds, they feel like he was supposed to just take this beating, you know? And that's how they feel, because he was being corrected since Metcalf thought he wasn't supposed to be sitting under their tent and he refused to move. In their mind, all of this is okay. They're never accountable, and they're going to sit up here and make excuses again because Karmelo was being corrected. You see what Dr. Joy was saying now? It's okay for them to do things to people, bully and harass people and get away with it in the name of patriotism or self-defense. See, Dr. Joy explained this in that clip ahead when she informed us of the Casual Unaliving Act of the 1600s. See, it may not be the 1600s anymore, but they passed down a lot of the same behaviors. Did the same thing even to Nat Turner. It's okay that they're enslaving him, but it was just so wrong for him to rebel against them. He needed to be corrected. Follow me. For those who don't know, they've started the trial without any black jurors. And this is no accident. They literally have a jury made up of all non-black jurors. All male jurors are white. They had about 3 Asian and reportedly a Middle Eastern and another one that has not been confirmed. Now, it to me would be a violation that no one on this jury reflects this baby's community. Something is definitely wrong with this whole thing. See, they keep saying it's not a race thing, but yes, it is. Don't let these people fool you. Talking about they don't see race. It's impossible for them not to see race. Better yet, do something they don't like. They'll see it then. Now, check this out. 3 Black American women, okay, were removed during the jury selection. Now, according to court reporting, because they won't let any cameras up in there, those 3 women were the remaining 3 black jurors in the strike zone, and the defense objected, claiming the removers were racially motivated. However, prosecution stated that the women were not removed because they were black. Prosecutors told the court that all 3 worked in education. They were either teachers or educators in some form. And that was the reason for the strikes. Now, the judge, John Roach, accepted the prosecution's explanation and denied the defense's challenge. As a result, no black jurors were ultimately seated on the final jury. So in simplest form, okay, the defenses said the 3 black women were dismissed because of race. The prosecution said they were dismissed because they were educators, not because they were black. The judge agreed, and there's no black representation on this trial. Crazy. Crazy. Now, it is from my understanding there was also a white juror who actually had an educational background as well. She was not moved. I want you to think about Dr. Joy for a minute, okay? Think about it and let me know if you think their mentality changed. Karmelo Anthony is black, but he's not the stereotypical black child that they can easily label. You see, Karmelo is a kid. Yes, he's still a baby to me, so I'm going to classify him as a baby. They always make excuses for theirs. Anyway, this child had a 3.7 GPA. No record. And he had to defend his life against people who were bullying him who were white. Guys, the entire American judicial system, from racial disparities and sentencing and overcharging by prosecutors, it was designed to criminalize and suppress black life. See, they can't just easily railroad this baby this time. They don't like taking L's. They still mad about OJ. If somebody put their hands on you, you should be able to defend yourself. Clean record, 3.7 GPA or not. He had every right to defend himself. However, because he's black, he can't use force to defend himself when you've said differently all along. So the next best thing is to find all kinds of issues with the black jurors or those who may actually feel sorry for him or understand the fear he may have had that day. See, these folks are breeded to not have compassion for us, and I do mean that literally. See, the same people who are demanding that he be thrown in jail for unaliving are some of the same people in charge of making decisions over his fate. Tell me history don't repeat itself. Let me be real with you for a minute. I do believe that multiple people walked up on this young boy and he defended himself. That's based on my research and witness statements. And it's from my understanding, this was no one-on-one fight. Those dudes are brothers, and now more evidence is coming out that it was more people assaulted this child. Even Metcalf's brother said both of them came up. Now, there's been talk of there's a video around, and I want to note the fact that this video has not leaked at all. Why has it not leaked? It would have been leaked if it was the other way around. These folks are desperate to get this child found guilty. If that video showed Karmelo as the aggressor, they would have shown it. Believe me, that tape hasn't leaked because it most likely shows someone's guilt. It most likely also incriminates the other person. They're protecting a narrative that they're always trying to create. See, they wanted to be seen as this black man with a knife who attacked this innocent white athlete. No. It's something up with that video.
You seen the video with your own 2 eyes. Was it clear enough or was it fuzzy or what?
No, it was clear. It was clear enough where you can see the actual individual raindrops come by the cameras.
Okay.
That's how clear it is. You actually see them walking up. You see that Karmelo is already up under there. He's under there minding his business.
Dodging the rain or?
Yeah, it was still rain. You know,
right.
I'm familiar. So that day we were under a tornado watch.
Right.
We were under thunderstorm warning, and we know we had already had some light rain then, and it started raining again. Then it was over with for the day. Okay. So that's kind of what happened on that day. But they were at a rain delay already. And so during that time when that happened, the twins, their 2 buddies, and a few other kids, because there was a few kids involved with them, they were all coming from the direction of the middle school, coming walking back up.
Right.
On the video, you can see those 4 that actually was involved, and maybe about 3 or 4 others that was with them, skipping up, trying to catch up behind. One veered off probably toward his way to go to the coach and kind of distract him a little bit. And then the other 4 came walking together. One went in front of them, went past.
Right.
The other 4 went and they surrounded Carmelo. You know, if you're Carmelo,
and they showed it on that video.
It's on the video.
Okay, come on.
You can see them walk.
I'm gonna say little stuff.
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
They actually tell you when you're watching the video, pay attention to this corner right here, because if you look anywhere else, you might miss different things.
Okay.
So watch those 4. Here, there are 4 right there coming up.
Right.
That's exactly what they say.
Okay.
And so you have no way to be confused that it's those 4. Okay. So they come up, they surround them, and this immediate moment of not even a few seconds of pause, then that's when they jump. And so
they actually did jump him.
Yeah, it wasn't just no touch. It wasn't just all that moment. Yeah, it was a push. It was all kind of things. But Austin pushed, Hunter hit, and then everybody swung.
See, them folks media don't want to tell the truth or any narrative of a black teenager legally defending himself from a hostile group of their own people. And that's how it's always been, because they have typically always been the aggressor. But because they pretend they're protecting themselves and correcting us, that's always been the narrative. When this baby reached for a weapon and said, "Don't touch me," or "touch me and see what happens," that's not aggression to me. That's trauma. That's a warning. That was a teenager or a baby in my eyes trying to live and take up for himself. This baby knew in that moment that nobody was coming to protect him, not the coaches, not the principals, not the police, and definitely not the Just Us system that was designed to protect them and not us. I'm not lying. That is the God's honest truth. And if you are Black American, you understand what you have to do when those people come bothering you. I can believe Karmelo didn't want to end up like Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, Tamir Rice, Emmett Till. I mean, the list can go on for our people who've been wronged by these people just because they felt the need to correct us. I believe him when he said he was protecting himself, because see, Black children, especially Black boys, are not allowed to be afraid or defend themselves or to survive when white silence ends up dressed up as entitlement, bullying, or authority. That's how it's always been. So I can't even lie to y'all. It would be best for me to never, I would love to be on that jury, but it wouldn't be best for me to be on it. You know why? Because I understand where he's coming from. I understand that he has to defend himself. I understand that he's a boy in this world who don't look at him as a boy, but a black man who they're threatened and bothered by, no matter how small he is, no matter the fact that Austin was way bigger than him. They don't see any of that. And that is why they moved those Black American women. See, we can understand what's going on. We're not breeded, not at all, to be okay with doing somebody wrong. So yeah, I see exactly what they're doing, and I hope you see it too. See, sometimes you got to think deeper. You really got to think deeper. They know how Black women, as much as they love to sow seeds of division, there are plenty of us who gonna come to our men rescue. You're damn right I am. You know why? Because you slept next to yours as mine hung from trees. I would have literally held up everything in there. You're not going to railroad this baby because you don't want to accept the truth that he was bullied and he have a right to defend himself. And if it was the other way around, hell, Austin probably would not have even been on trial. I'm sorry. So yeah, I can understand why they wouldn't put them Black women, but it's still wrong. It's still grimy, and it shows that they've never changed. We supposed to be happy that it's people of color on the doggone jury. Half of them want to identify as white. And I want to give a shout out to the Black grassroots and the new Black media. See, many people covered this story. Many people. And as a result, we all got on code, just like our ancestors used to, literally, and stood behind him. See, them folks are used to us being stuck behind bars, broke, with a high bail, crying about justice. And that did not happen this time. This time, everybody got on code, raised money, and backed our own. This is despite them folks trying to sabotage the Black grassroots from raising money for this baby. See, they thought they were going to use their media to slaughter this baby and sway the narrative and make him out to be the villain. And the grassroots were not having it. Shout out to us, Freedmen. You see, if they can make a hero out of Kyle Rittenhouse or George Zimmerman, or say Kyle Rittenhouse or Daniel Penny were defending themselves, then this baby was defending himself too. I don't want to hear nothing. They support their own, even in their wrongdoing. Look how they're crying now that Chud the Builder is stuck in jail where he need to be because they sat up there and let him be on camera harassing Black people. They didn't say a thing. That went on for a long time. And now we are using the same laws that they have always benefited from and get away with things when they did wrong. Emmett Till, B.C. Taylor, isn't fair. Well, you created it. Deal with it. And Karmelo was met with the same financial support, community support, and legal advocacy that you give yours, again, even in their wrongdoing. And one more thing, where is the CBC, NAACP, all these other Black politicians who are talking about Black representation? You know, the ones who were crying the last few weeks because they losing their doggone seats. Where is Maxine Waters? She got on a private plane to go protest with illegals, waving a whole doggone Mexican flag, but nothing said about this baby. Where's Jasmine Crockett? This is her area. She a lawyer. And she took herself running around advocating for Black and brown, for illegals, who wasn't even voting for her anyway. She ain't said nothing. Where's Perm? Oh, excuse me, I'm mad. Al Sharpton. He's sitting up here talking about how we need to vote the right people in to get things done. We've been doing that for almost 70 years. Where's Kamala? Where's her with her transactions now that the grassroots done humble her behind and had to show her who needed who? Where are all of these people who are so quick to shame the Black grassroots whenever we question the people who we've been voting for decades? Where are they at? They have said nothing about this child. Yet you wonder why your support is dwindling. Yet you wonder why shaming tactics for us don't work. I guess them liberal whites who control you tell you not to say nothing. And guys, I do apologize because I'm aggravated because this is crazy to me. Daniel Penny literally choked Jordan Neely, unarmed. He had a mental condition and he wasn't a threat to anybody. And it was okay. Now, all of a sudden, that this baby, and I'm going to keep labeling him as a baby because that's what he is to me. I'm not that much older, but he's still a baby.
That's right.
And
Revolutionary salute to my brother. Warm word for the donation to the war chest. Revolutionary Way of Life. I absolutely appreciate you helping me keep the lights on here in the House of Revolution. My brother say salute to the channel. I was worried, but with the evidence presented here, I feel better. We're going to get justice, brother. We're going to get justice. Believe that. Revolutionary salute.
And Lord knows a life was lost, and that's never a good thing. But our children are not looked at as kids in this world. It's a cold world out here. And I'm not saying don't protect them. I'm not saying don't discipline them. I'm not saying don't guide them. I had all of that. I was fortunate. But at the same time, it's okay to nurture them and love them. Maybe because I'm a woman. But for them to sit there and do that with those jurors, knowing how them folks think, half of them people probably coming in there already with a set narrative in their mind. That's why it was so important for me to show you Dr. Joy. Hopefully somebody will understand that. All right, y'all, let me get my thoughts together. Okay. All right. That's all I have. Okay.
So some of this.
You seen the video on 2 hours. Was it clear enough or was it fuzzy or what?
No, it was clear. It was it's clear enough where you can see the actual individual raindrops come by the cameras.
Okay.
That's how clear it is. You actually see them walking up. You see that Karmelo is already up under there. He's under there minding his business.
Dodging the rain or?
Yeah, it was still raining. You know,
right.
I'm from Little Rock. So that day we were under a tornado watch.
Right.
And we were under thunderstorm warning. And we know we had already had some light rain then, and it started raining again. Then it was over with for the day.
Okay.
So that's kind of what happened on that day. But they were at a rain delay already. And so during that time when that happened, the twins, their two buddies, and a few other kids, because there was a few kids involved with them, they were all coming from the direction of the middle school, coming walking back up.
Right.
On the video, you can see those four that actually was involved, and maybe about 3 or 4 others that was with them, skipping up, trying to catch up behind. One veered off probably toward his way to go to the coach and kind of distract him a little bit. And then the other 4 came walking together. One went in front of them, went past.
Right.
The other 4 went and they surrounded Karmelo. You know, if you're Karmelo.
And they showed it on that video.
It's on the video.
Okay, come on.
You can see them walk.
I'm going to say little stuff.
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
They actually tell you when you're watching the video, pay attention to this corner right here, because if you look anywhere else, you might miss different things.
Okay.
So watch those 4. Here they're 4 right there coming up.
Right.
That's exactly what they say.
Okay.
And so you have no way to be confused that it's those 4. Okay. So they come up, they surround them, and it's an immediate moment of not even a few seconds of pause. Then that's when they jump. And so
they actually did jump him.
Yeah, it wasn't just no touch. It wasn't just all that moment. Yeah, it was a push. It was all kind of things. But Austin pushed, Hunter hit, and then everybody swung. But at the same time,
So it's more than the twins that got some licks.
All 4.
So it showed that in the video.
Yes, in the video. So again, you got Hunter and Austin standing in the middle.
Okay.
And you have the light bright boy here, and you have the darker boy here.
Okay.
Checking in from the West Coast. Shout out to the West Coast. Shout out to everybody out here. Who's in LA? Where are my LA people? If you're in LA, give me put an L in the comments. If you're in LA. All my LA people, put an L in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Or shout out to LA. Y'all know where I am in this picture? Oh, where are my LA people? I usually take daily photographs. This was where I was earlier today. Where am I in this picture? Ladies and gentlemen. What's up, player? Where am I in this picture? There you go. Cool granny knows. No, I'm not in the IE. I'm not at the I was at the museum earlier, but in this picture, I'm not. There you go. James know. James know. Yeah. I was over there at Hawkins Burger, over there on Imperial. Nigga, those burgers are delicious. Them Hawkins burgers, yeah, it is. It lives up to the hype. It is delicious. Yes, it is. It's in the damn trenches, though, but the burgers are delicious. You understand? It is in the trenches. All right? Man. You go to Fred's Burger. Where's Fred's Burgers? Where's Fred's Burger? Yeah. Imperial and Central Avenue, right? I think it was Central Avenue. Yeah. That building. Yeah, it's in the trenches, dude. Yeah, it's the building is real secure. You got to order through like a little slot. It's like a trap house, to be honest. Yeah, you order in one spot, you order through a hole, and then you pick it up in another hole. Yeah, it's a very secure building. Yeah, you can't go in. Yeah, it is extremely. It's like a bank. Well, they got that thing. It's in the trenches. I say that, but it's very good. Shout out to Miss Hawkins. Shout out to Miss Hawkins. It's very, very good. Them burgers are banging. Yeah, but it's over there in Pyru Hood. It's over there. It's over there in the Bounties. It's in the trenches though. But it's cool. It's, the people are beautiful over there. Beautiful people. Beautiful people. But anyway, let's get into some stuff. We got to talk about a lot of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen. A lot of stuff we got to talk about. Yeah, just be careful. Just be careful. Don't wear blue. Just wear some neutral colors and you'll be good. Yeah, this is my first time going. It's my first time going to Hawkins Burger. My first time going there. All right. Shout out to Sister Brooke in the building. Oh man, a lot of stuff we got to talk about. Listen, we got to talk about the case, our brother Karmelo Anthony going through what he's going through down here in Texas. Where are my Texas people? Texas all right? Are my Texas people all right? We got to talk about what's happening with the case. We already discussed yesterday how they purged all the black jurors and it's an all-white jury, which is already funny style. But there's a lot of different reports coming out on what's happening with the tape. There's supposed to be surveillance video and some footage that has been shown, I guess, to the jury. And there's some people from the media who has allegedly saw this footage. There was a dude, a black man, talking about he saw the footage, and what he said somewhat corroborates some other things that I've heard of this footage that they're really keeping close wraps on. This black brother said, I don't know how or where he saw the footage, but he said basically these dudes surrounded Karmelo. He said Karmelo was surrounded. It was 4 of them. And they confronted him and they assaulted him. It was basically 4-on-1. All right. And there's been some other reports to kind of corroborate this. It wasn't just the one guy. The white tea supremacists are trying to say it was a one-on-one thing. But even Metcalf's brother said both of them came up. So yeah, they've already proved that there were multiple people who came up to Karmelo. So that one-on-one shit, that no. The brother even said that they came up to him. You know? So it was never one-on-one. We're getting a lot of misinformation from the Fox News crowd. They're putting out a lot of misinformation. Deliberately. They're putting out a lot of deliberate misinformation. And you know what? We're not going to even put that on Fox News. Even some of the liberal left-wing media, they're getting on the white supremacist code too. Even TMZ put out some stuff like allegedly Karmelo taunted Metcalf. It said something to that effect. So some of this left-wing media, they're getting on the damn code too. Who said Karmelo's done? He's not done. Who's that? Breed? Hold on, Breed, hop on in. Hold on, Breed, hop on, Breed. How was he done, Breed? Breed, hop on in. Breed, hop on in. Yeah, TMZ is left-wing. Yeah, it's left-wing. Breed, hop on in. All right, you ain't saying nothing now, Breed. Yeah, you don't be saying stuff in the comments and don't get up here and stand on it. All right. Let me tell you something. Again, now I believe that multiple people walked up on that young boy and he defended himself. He said, hey, I got to get up out of here. They walk up on him and then put hands on him. So from what I'm seeing and hearing, from what I'm understanding, it sounded like a 4-on-1 situation. It wasn't no fair one. And he was, he's kind of a thin little guy. These some big bucket-fed hillbillies walking up on him. So that kid defended himself. He defended himself. You understand? And let me tell you something. Let me say this. The fact that this video they keep talking about has not leaked, to me, that shows the video shows Karmelo's innocence. That's why it hasn't leaked, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? Family, let's be real. Y'all know these white tea supremacists, boy, they'll leak a tape so damn fast. If something proves a black person's guilt, they'll leak. It would have been leaked a long time ago. They wouldn't keep this thing under wraps like this. Y'all know this. It would have been leaked by somebody in law enforcement. They would have leaked this thing a long time ago. We know how it works. Whenever there's video footage that definitely incriminates a black person, law enforcement and the white tea media will make sure it's conveniently leaked to the public on day one, and they will loop it on every station to secure a conviction in court of public opinion before the jury is even selected. All right? The fact that they're so damn selectively secret about this video, it shows that he's innocent, family. They done kept this thing under damn lock and key. That speaks volumes. If that video showed Karmelo as an unprovoked aggressor, they wouldn't be playing hide and seek with this damn tape. They would have justified this thing and leaked it so fast. So what they're trying to do is project that what they're doing is protecting the desired narrative. See, the white tea press, they rely on a very specific framing to sell the story. All right? That this wild black man with a knife attacked this poor little innocent white athlete. If the video actually shows the truth, Metcalf and his crew being the aggressors surrounding Karmelo, that destroys the narrative. So they're hiding this video because the tape ruins their story. And the reality of self-defense, listen, the media apparatus, they refuse to broadcast the optic of a black teenager legitimately and legally defending himself from a hostile group. If the footage clearly corroborates Karmelo's self-defense claim, keeping it hidden that's a very deliberate tactic to stop the public from seeing the truth with their own eyes. Excuse me. So they're controlling the spin. They're going out of their way to keep this video away from the public, and the media, they get to spin this thing however they want to spin it and rely on their own so-called expert interpretations of it. When the public can't see the tape, the media gets to dictate what the tape allegedly shows so they can manipulate the optics to favor Metcalf. But I'm pretty sure this video shows Karmelo being surrounded by a group of these people. I can almost guarantee that's what's on that video. You understand? Because if this footage drop and it shows that Metcalf and his crew are running up on this kid, instigating the conflict, which they did, they instigated this. See, the whole dynamic of the case, it flips. And the establishment, they will always suppress visual evidence that make the designated victim look like the actual instigators. So their silence, man, that's the smoking gun to me. You don't bury your best piece of evidence if it firmly proves your case. You understand? The only logical, historic reason that they refused to leak this tape in this high-profile case is because the black defendant is justified in this damn video, and this video proves that boy's innocence, man. That's the only reason they're hiding this tape. That video proves his innocence. You know? Do we have any white supremacists in here? Because I see a lot of activity in the chat. Y'all need to get on up here and speak on it. Y'all hit the hearts, and let's get these likes up. Everybody hit the hearts and let's get these likes up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get the family in here. Raise your hand too. Let me talk to you guys. Y'all chime in on this. Do we have any Texas folks down there? What's the vibe out there in Texas? All right. Man, let me see. Raise your hand. Hold on. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Hold on. Come on, thing. What am I doing here? All right. London, England. Okay. Magambo. What you talking about, Magambo? Magambo, hop on. I don't know what you're talking about. Magambo, hop on. Mr. Magambo, hop on, sir.
Bro, how you doing, man? It's such a pleasure to speak to you.
Yes, indeed. You're in London, England?
Bro, London, England. I've been listening to you. I can't believe I'm speaking to you, by the way, for years.
Yes,
I
sir.
used to listen to you when you used to say, we need to charge them to the game.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, you were in the UK. Where you're from Somalia? You sound like you're Somalian.
No, bro. I was born in the UK, but my parents are Pakistani origin.
Oh, okay. Okay, there it is. Man, so how's everything going out there?
Yeah, it's good, man. We've got a bit of a heat wave going on at the moment. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking politically or economically, there's a bit of a shift going on. There's a movement taking place to divide people, most definitely. So it's an interesting place. But did you come to England much?
Yeah, I used to go a lot, but they banned me from there. I can't go.
You're joking.
No,
Why?
They banned me, man, because of my influence. They just said I cannot come there. I'm on a no-fly list. They cannot bring me to England at all. I can't even stop over there on a layover flight. They're like,
did they tell you specifically why? Is it because you spoke out about something?
Oh, no, they just said my presence is not conducive to the good of the public there.
Oh, then you know you're doing something right.
No, they're right. Exactly. Yeah. But shout out, thank you, brother. But shout out to London. I still got a lot of love for the brothers and sisters out there because they've always showed me a lot of respect in London and Britain as a whole. So they got a lot of love for me out there, and I respect them. All right, let me get some more people in here. Let me get some more folks in here, ladies and gentlemen, because we got a lot to talk about as far as this case. Big up to London, real talk. Yeah, if you were a long time listener, you would have known that. Yeah, somebody made a good point. But London is cool. I got a lot of love for London. London is all right. But yeah, we got to watch this case down here in Texas, man. We got to watch it very, very closely. And just really the vibe around the country, family. I want y'all to understand something. Tap the screen while I'm talking, family. Let's get these hearts up. We only got 34,000 hearts. Let's get 100,000 hearts in 5 minutes. We can do that. All you got to do is tap the screen, family. Y'all tap the screen and let's get 100,000 hearts. All you got to do is tap the screen and like the screen. I want y'all to understand something right now. The white tea supremacists, they are getting desperate right now. They're getting desperate and they're making desperation moves. And they understand the importance of a crash out contingency. In any group, historically, we're going to get deep. Let's get deep for a minute. Historically, different groups, in order to protect themselves from an existential threat, they have a crash out contingency. They have people who are willing to go to jail or martyr themselves and sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the greater good of their society or group. See, the white tea supremacists, because they see that their numbers are dwindling and they just got to do something, you have a crash out contingency. They're making these very desperate moves, just like with Chud the Builder. That was a crash out. Chud is a crash out. Going out here just blatantly, verbally harassing Black people and then just doing a blatant assault. So they're sacrificing themselves. They got a crash out contingency, and they're doing it for the greater good of white tea supremacy. They're trying to do it for the maintenance of white tea supremacy. Yeah, there's an allowed crash out, right? So all of these different groups, and historically, people have a crash out contingency, and they're trying to use their crash out contingency to kind of whip us into submission, but it's not really working. And they're getting very desperate because they're going to be a minority here real soon. They're already a global minority, but being a minority here, they're very nervous about that. So they want to be able to rule as a hostile minority. So they got to be very brutal and hostile. The problem is psychologically, we're not going to allow that. So they don't know what they're going to do. So they're getting desperate with their crash out. So they are trying to extend some of the privileges to some of these white tea adjacent groups like the Asians, like with Rick Chow, and get them to crash out for them and then give them systemic protections. But the trick bag is when you allow the system to engage in that type of injustice, making sure that there's an all white tea jury who's getting on the white supremacist code, striking Black jurors off. Now you are delegitimizing the system, which makes people say, okay, we're going to have to engage in other types of justice. We're going to have to take justice in our own hands. That's what people start thinking when they see a system has decided to become completely unjust. People are not going to respect that system and honor that system anymore. They've broken the social contract. This is what creates crash out contingencies historically. So I want y'all to understand, we've had our own crash out contingencies. In the 1960s, understand the Black Panthers and some of the Black militant groups, they were a crash out contingency who sacrificed and martyred themselves for the protection of Black society as a whole. You understand? People think we got a lot of the rights going on because Black people sat there and got beat up in Selma. No. There was asymmetrical warfare, guerrilla warfare going on with a crash out contingency. People who were willing to go to jail, sacrifice, but do it for the protection and the greater good of the community, which is what happened. A lot of those people, unfortunately, are still in jail now. Some of the people are unalive, but they sacrificed themselves for the community. And that kept a lot of people off of our bumper for a minute. When they saw the stakes were high, there's a crash out contingency. Hey, they're like, we better think twice before we step to these people. Same with the Haitian Revolution. Many of those people martyred themselves. You had people, and that's why I have so much respect for the Haitian Revolution. That's why I did a movie about it. Some of those people, they were so dedicated to, getting freedom for the people there, they got on such a strict code. Some of them would go out there and martyr themselves because they knew that their spirit will live on. That was the mindset. They were getting into that Vodun, and they knew that the spirit would still be there. They got on that. They started thinking in not just physical, but in a metaphysical sense. Some of those people in the Haitian Revolution, they would jump in cannons. You understand? They would jump in a cannon to stop the cannons from blowing up a group of people. They would just martyr themselves by stopping the cannonball. They were doing some kamikaze type of stuff. When the French saw that, they're like, oh, these Negroes are different. Uh-oh, they're different. So when they know that there's a crash out contingency there who's willing to risk it all, people will think twice about systemic injustice. And this is historical. You understand? See, power does not respect morality. It respects boundaries. In a hostile ecosystem, if a group is perceived as entirely pacified, they become an open target for exploitation and erasure. That crash out contingency serves as a vital psychological deterrent. And opponents and oppressive structures, they're forced to calculate the true cost of their aggression. When they know that crossing a specific line will trigger an asymmetric response from a faction that's willing to sacrifice everything, that cost of aggression suddenly becomes too high. You understand? It's deep. We're talking history here. You see? When you establish a credible threat, and that threat forces the oppressor to think twice. See, that's why there's a leverage between the duplicity of the respectable movement. See, the mainstream love to celebrate the polished, moderate reformers who speak politely in negotiation rooms. But those moderates, they only have a seat at the table because the radicals exist in the streets. See, that's where people like Malcolm, he understood that. Malcolm, he would go to him and say, hey, I'll talk to you. Let me talk to you. And let me tell you what some of the demands are, and this is what you need to do. Now, we can talk like men, or you can deal with some of these cats outside with the Molotov cocktail. So it would behoove you to sit down and talk like you got some sense. That's how they were coming to them in the 60s. You understand? They did the classic good cop, bad cop dynamic. See, power holders don't concede to the polite wing out of a sudden change of heart. They negotiate with them specifically to avoid dealing with the crash outs. You see, so when the Black Panthers and people like that, when they demonstrated a clear armed willingness to defend their communities and upend the status quo, they amplified the leverage of the civil rights moderates. You understand? See, without that militant flank signaling a total willingness to disrupt the system, the polite demands, they'll get ignored. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, when those Black Panthers showed up in the Bay with them gats, yeah, everybody started getting some act right. Then they started wanting to talk about civil rights. Then they wanted to start signing stuff. That's where the shit was coming from. Let's be real. All right? Listen, a group that only stands together when it's convenient or profitable, that's a group that can easily be bought. Hold on. Damn, hold on. Let me block these people. I'm getting a lot of these foreigners trying to get up, and they're very annoying. But yeah, a lot of these people, man, they can, if you only stand together when it's convenient or when it's profitable, you can be terrified into submission. You can be bought out. Sacrificial actions change the chemistry of a collective. When members of a contingency are genuinely ready to face maximum sentences, martyrdom, it signals to both the internal and the external adversaries that this runs deeper than just a legal contract. It's bound like family. So raw sacrificial acts, that turns like abstract political theories into like a terrifying reality to outsiders. And pure nonviolence and appeal to rule of law, those are highly conditional strategies. See, they only function if the oppressor cares about the optics, you know? When a system is moving towards erasure and like soft genocide and all that shit, no. The peaceful routes become dead ends. The crash out contingencies operate as the ultimate backdrop. They're the ones willing to engage in the dirty asymmetrical warfare to protect the group when the systemic laws and norms offer zero protection. And historically, many ethnic and religious groups, they survived absolute tyranny because they possessed a faction that refused to just fade out quietly. They drew a hard line in the sand and said, no, this line will not be crossed without heavy consequences. Yeah. I'll give you a great example of that, man. Hell, with the OJ trial. See, the OJ Simpson trial, a lot of the white supremacists are upset with that. And by the way, OJ's innocent. He's always been innocent. He's always been innocent. He's always been innocent. The thing is, they just didn't get to railroad him because they really wanted, at that time, listen, I'm out here in LA. They really wanted revenge for the LA riots. We turned up out here real heavy and they wanted revenge. They wanted to, they saw this case and this was their opportunity to punish a big black person, a big well-known black person. He's laying up with white women. Oh, this is the great opportunity to railroad him. And what they were going to try to do with OJ, they were going to try to pull the same junk they pulled with the Rodney King case. Take the case out to Simi Valley, which is where a bunch of white supremacists and a bunch of white cops live, and then have an all white jury and then do that little bullshit they pulled. And we let them know, try that shit again. We let everybody know, the streets of LA, let them know with this OJ trial, you try that Simi Valley shit, you try that all white jury stuff, we still got Molotov cocktails left over. That was the vibe that everybody had. That's why they had to get some act right. That's why they had to have this case, the OJ case, in LA with a jury that reflected the community. Why? Because the stakes were high. The streets already gave this city $1 billion bill. All right. The LA riots cost the city of LA $1 billion. They couldn't afford another one. You understand? They couldn't afford, and the streets was real. They were ready to go back, and the streets wasn't tired. The streets was not tired at all. Yeah, the energy was still up. So they had to have a fair trial. They couldn't do all that railroading nonsense. That's why they were mad, ladies and gentlemen. The streets was on that ass. You see, there was a crash out contingency ready to turn up. So that trial was extremely fair. That was a fair trial. They don't like fair trials. Fairness means they're taking a loss. White supremacy is never about fairness. Why? They cannot compete on a fair, even plane. You understand? They cannot do anything fairly. There has to be an unfair advantage. That's what white supremacy is about. Name something these people can do one-on-one, fair and square. That's why they are not good at sports with us. This is why they kept us out of certain sports for so long. And they were forced to have us in it because when we had our own leagues, we started to outsell them and more people wanted to see us. So then they had to bring us into their leagues to make it interesting. But this is reality. But like I said, man, these people understand the necessity of a crash out contingency. And we're seeing that with the dominant society. They're trying to have their crash out crews, but it's not going to work because there's crash out crews everywhere. It's very, very interesting. All right. Let me see. Y'all raise your hand. Let me get the family in here. Y'all raise your hands, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get the family in here. Raise the hands. And let me talk to you. Let me see what's on your mind. Let me get Sister Brooke in here real quick. Sister Brooke, hop on in, Brooke. Sister Brooke, hop on in.
Hello.
Hey, beloved, how are you, dear?
Oh, well, you know, this Karmelo thing had me thinking, right?
Yes.
And so because the legislative session is over, I decided that, you know, we had such success with that email letter writing campaign. I was talking to my big sis Keisha, and she is a student of the great Alternatics, right?
Yes.
Who's no longer with us, of course, right? And so he's, you know, in case of for those who don't know, he's one of those, you know, Johnny Cochran type of lawyers. You know, they're all in the same vein.
Yes.
And so we were talking about that today, and we were talking about the fact that it's an all-white jury and how that's unconstitutional because it's an all-white jury, right? Because Karmelo does not have a jury of his peers, right?
Yes.
And so she was saying that if Ultimatics was here, he would ask for a special prosecutor, and if Ultimatics was his lawyer. And the fact that the defense has not asked for a special prosecutor is a problem, right? So I decided, since we already have, I'm already good at these email letter writing campaigns, right?
Yeah.
I decided, and the legislation session is over, go to BREUCK call to action, right? And you can send an email to the state prosecutor, the state attorney general, the senators in that district, and the Congress people in that district, and the media. I put some local Texas media and some national media, right? So that they can see the amount of emails requesting a special prosecutor due to the fact that his Sixth Amendment rights for a jury of his peers is not being considered, right? Or is being violated.
It's not a jury of his
And so
peers.
for those of us that are not in Texas and there's something that you want to do, you know, you can start sending those emails. It's the same exact link. It's super easy, just like the last time. And now instead of 5 emails, there's really only 2. There's one to go to Karmelo Anthony and one to go to our commission, our Reparations Commission, about bringing in somebody. But we'll talk about that later because this is really about Karmelo, right? So if you guys can continue, you guys are already you were so successful in the prior email letter writing campaign. I decided to put the practice that we have already started to good use. You know what I mean? For our young brother, because watching what happened, me and my big sis Keisha were talking again, watching what happened in that case in South Carolina, I instantly knew, once I found out that they did not charge the Asian dude correctly.
Yes.
I knew that it was because if they had charged him, if they had allowed the charge of manslaughter, sorry, I can't say these words, of 10 Potter, if they had allowed that charge, then his prior bad acts would have been admitted. And that is why they only charged him with murder. And so this is the issue. These prosecutors are, you know, just like Neely Footer said, are on both sides. The white supremacists are on every side of every argument. So the prosecutors are acting like, yeah, I'm prosecuting to the fullest extent of the law, knowing that you would not be able to get a conviction off of the murder alone charge. That a charge of man Potter, I don't know how to say these things on TikTok. That charge they would have gotten a conviction on that because of the lesser charge and because of the prior bad acts that would have been able to get in. So because of this, so if I feel like if we send emails to the legislators and the media, letting them know that we know that you are violating his Sixth Amendment right for a jury of his peers, you know, maybe we can manifest something legally to happen in the form of a special prosecutor. This is just, me busting my brain thinking, what can I do from Queens?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay, so everybody go to
ahead,
BREUCK calltoaction.com. Y'all been doing it all this time. Nothing has changed. It's just less emails. And send that email to all of those people. You can read there exactly what the email is going to say, exactly why you should send it, all of those things. I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate you, Sarika, for listening to me.
There you go. Thank you so much, beloved. I appreciate
Thank you. Bye. Love y'all.
Got her sister Brooke in the building.
Hey, y'all.
Right. Boom. So y'all can see this. So y'all just take my word for it. All right. Frisco track meet stabbing. No black jurors selected for Karmelo Anthony murder trial. Yeah. None. Now this is Fox 4. Okay. They say the pool of roughly 500 prospective jurors was narrowed down to 12 and 6 alternates in Collin County, with opening statements expected to begin Thursday. Karmelo Anthony is facing first-degree murder charges from the April 2025 fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf following a seating dispute under a stadium tent at a Frisco regional track meet. The defense plans to argue self-defense, while court officials have banned cameras and limited electronics to keep, they say, the highly publicized racially charged proceedings orderly. You ban cameras, really, in a state trial? What kind of BS y'all gonna pull in there, boy? So y'all, it's already looking funny style. You ban cameras, you don't want electronics, and you know what I'm saying? And an all-white jury. Boy, they trying to send this young man up the road. Oh boy. It's like I see the play. Now, they say potential jurors returned to Collin County on Wednesday as a high-profile Karmelo Anthony murder trial begins to take shape. Anthony is charged, of course, we know, 2025 stabbing of Austin Metcalf. Police say Anthony and Metcalf got into an argument over seating in the stands, which escalated when Anthony stabbed Metcalf in the chest with a pocket knife. Now, they said after meeting with attorneys on Wednesday afternoon, Judge John Roach excused the first 150 jurors. It said during the second round of strikes, the defense raised an issue over 3 potential jurors that the prosecution chose to strike. The defense argued that they were black females and similarly situated as another white female that the prosecution did not strike. Okay, so 3 black women they wanted gone. Prosecutors clarified that 3 women were struck for non-racial reasons. All 3 listed their occupations as educators, as it seemed the prosecution did not want educators on the jury because the alleged incident happened at a school function with school-aged children. What? The judge sided with prosecutors and agreed to strike the 3 women. Of course he did. Of course. They said a 12-person jury was seated with a mixture of both men and women. No black jurors were selected. There is 1 educator on the jury, but she's an esthetician, who teaches at a trade school, in Dallas. She does not work in the traditional school environment, or with high school age children. Okay, so they say Anthony was in court Wednesday wearing a suit and a tie and a purple shirt. Purple is the color his supporters have been wearing to the court. The now 18-year-old has more closely cropped hair. They said his face was stoic during the proceedings, but at some points he did appear to take notes. They say about 50 people, including members of the media and the public, were in the courtroom on Wednesday watching the live feed of the ongoing jury selection. Okay. Now, I don't like that. You struck 3 black women. So, okay, let's say if they were educators. You mean no black people could be on that jury? So once again, let's go back. No cameras in the courtroom. Hardly no limited electronics. They're talking about his race. Okay, if it's racially charged, then shouldn't you say let's show the trial to everybody? That way we're gonna show that we can run a case that's racially charged. We want to be transparent before the world and say, hey, this is how we do things the right way here in Texas, right? But no, that's not how they want to do it, ladies and gentlemen. They want to do it where they wanted to be sneaky, underhanded, and doing things funny style. That's just really what it is. And we know they trying to do a conviction on this young man. We know. And see, the white supremacists are looking at this trial as like, hey, we got to get a win out of this trial. We got to get a win. Because what they want, the white supremacists, okay? They want to keep instituting that white life is way more important than anybody else's life in this country. And they can put their hands on you. They could take your life and nothing should happen to them. Like with the Jordan Neely case, Daniel Penny. See, Daniel Penny can choke somebody out from behind. Right? You're supposed to call the police. He wasn't attacking nobody. To them, he's a hero. He was helping people. But Karmelo Anthony, oh, no. He can't defend himself at all. He needs to go to jail. He needs to go to prison. And what I'm telling these white supremacists, that day of you being, your life is above everybody else's, like I said before, and I'm going to keep saying this, you are in the final hour of white supremacy. This is why you're so desperate. You're desperate. You're desperate for Karmelo Anthony to go to prison. You looking for any little thing just to have a win. Okay, let's say that's worst case scenario. Let's say that do happen. Do you think your life is going to get better if Karmelo Anthony goes to jail? Think about it. Your life is not going to be better. Your life is spiraling down every day. And I told you, the more and more racism that you do and sabotage of black people, the quicker the time goes.
Lyndon Baines Johnson said, if you can get the lowest of the whites, the trailer park whites, the Confederate whites, the angry, bigoted whites, to feel like they're better than a nigger, that's what he said, then they'll never realize it's you who picking their pockets. He said that. While they ripping these clowns off, ruining their lives, just make them feel like they're better than a nigger, and that'll make them feel all right. That's just a fact.
Goes for the end of white supremacy as you know it. You don't realize that the chaos that you having is literally turning on you. You haven't paid attention to that? Everything you ever did to black folks is starting to be turned on you now. And now you want to walk around here crying that you're a victim. I have no sympathy for your victimhood because you didn't have sympathy for mine. You didn't have sympathy for black people. So I have no sympathy for you. I'm going to treat you exactly the way you treat me, period. I'm going to tell you, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I'm going to tell you to get 2-3 jobs. I'm going to tell you stop complaining. I'm going to tell you stop being a victim. I'm going to tell you you're being lazy, which historically you have been. And that's just really where I'm at with it. I will treat anybody how they treat me. You treat me good, I'm going to treat you even better. But if you treat me worse, then don't think you're going to get them. Listen, black people, the days of us turning the other cheek, the days of us treating them good, trying to be the better person, that's a wrap. We did that already. We did that. Didn't work. So now you try something different. The way you treat me, I'm going to treat you. It's just that simple. These people this is why they're trying to do all the Voting Rights Act, trying to take away the districts. All this is trying to solidify white supremacy. That's what this is about. All of this, Karmelo Anthony, just trying to solidify white supremacy. Look at Chud the Builder, right? Why is it that they so invested in Chud the Builder? Because for them, they want that back where they can walk up to you and just spew the N-word and nothing happens to them. That's what they want, ladies and gentlemen. They want that. And for them, they feel like you have become way too powerful that they can't walk up to you. So they look at Chud as a hero. But it was only a matter of time that he was going to be dealt with. And these other little Chud copycats were trying. I've seen a couple of them that got two-pieced out here quick. Like Chud then ruined it for him. You walk up to a black person now, ain't about to be none of that. You got to think about their psychology. Their psychology is they don't want to get along with everybody. They want to be oppressive. They want to be wicked. They want to be evil. This is what they want to be to black people. And we're saying, no, you're not going to do that. Let me tell you something, black people. People treat you the way you allow them to treat you. You hear me? I learned this with life. When I allowed people to walk over me, they did. And when I didn't allow that, they didn't. That I can't tell you from my personal life. When people use you, it's because you allowed it. Oh, use me. No. You allowed them to use you. You got to take responsibility of that. And now prevent that. Like these other groups. These other groups have used us because we allowed it for years. Because we're looking for a friend or whatever the case may be. We have to take personal responsibility in the way other people have treated us. We allowed it, even the white supremacists. Because notice every time we stand up, notice every time we have an uprising, or whatever the case may be, notice they back off. Why they back off? Because we said, no, you're not going to treat me this way. No, you're not going to harm me or my community. No. Let me tell you something, black people. There's power in the word no. There's a lot of power in that word. And we need to exercise that word a lot more. No. No, you're not going to disrespect me. No, you're not going to harm me. No, you're not going to talk to me any kind of way. No, you're not going to say the N-word to me. And that no may be followed up with some sort of consequence. It may. We don't know. It could be a civil consequence. Could be a criminal consequence. It could be I handle it myself consequence. Either way it go, it may be some sort of consequence, but no is preliminary what we're saying. And black folks need to stay on top of this Karmelo Anthony case and watch every bit of it and every minute of it and be talking about this case and how these folks over here trying to railroad that young man, an all-white jury. There's no way to appeal that. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak on that portion, but there's no way to appeal that because how is you got an all-white jury? Out of 500 people, everybody's white? Come on now. Come on. Texas have the most black folks in any state. Texas do. And you mean to tell me you couldn't put 2 or 3 black people on the jury? When you say a jury of his peers, white people are not my peers. Sorry, they're not. Black people are. That's the neighborhood I grew up in. That's the people I've been around. I don't be in white neighborhoods all my life. That's not part of my community. You're talking about my peers. They're not my peers. If you, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I don't care what racial group is on trial. I believe half the jury should be from that said community. If a white person's on trial, then 6 of the jurors should be white. If a Hispanic person's on trial, 6 of those jurors should be Hispanic. Asian, whoever, black, don't matter. At least I would feel it's fair to every person that at least 6 of the people on the jury is from your said community. Now, the rest of the jury could be whatever they pick, but half of the jury should be from your said community. Once again, it should be for everybody across the board, not just for black people, for everybody. That's race neutral. What I'm saying is race neutral because it applies to everybody, but it makes sure half of the jury has people of that person said community. Because nuance is very important. Understanding people where they come from is very important. Now, if something's a slam dunk, you think a black person going to just let you go free? Like, for instance, if you have a black dude that went to trial and he went out here and he did a drive-by and it's blatant what he did. Do you seriously think black people let him go home? I wouldn't. I mean, it's blatant what he did. He took lives. No, oh no, I got you on camera doing it and you on Instagram bragging and they showing it in court that you bragging on Instagram. Oh no, bro, you got to go because I don't want you in the black community. I don't want no killers in the black community. Mm-hmm. But see that's not the cases. That's not the cases that they were worried about us being on. No, they don't want us in cases like this one, Karmelo, that kind of case. Yeah, you're right, McQueen. Black jurors will make it difficult. Sometimes making it difficult is just asking questions. You be like, hold on, I got a question. How come this happened? Or what? Why you say it like this? Could you re-explain that to me? The thing is, in order for white supremacy to work, it can't have much pushback. Because I told you, white supremacy isn't built on truth. It's built on lies and falsehoods. I told y'all that. Rhonda says, white got everything and they're still not happy. Then folks got to realize it's a new day. Yeah, of course they're not happy. Of course. If you go to my podcast, the Philip Scott podcast, that's my podcast. I just do by myself. Nobody is on it, just me. I did one about a white woman last night. Yeah, she got a 6-figure salary. And she says she can't make it. You're right. They got everything. They making 6 figures and still can't make it. And make sure you go to the podcast tonight for 9 p.m. Central Standard, 2100. There's another one complaining and crying too about how she can't buy groceries. I said I'm covering all them videos that pop up my algorithm because you know what? And they becoming very frequent about those videos popping up about them complaining and crying that they can't afford anything. So yes, they got the White House, they got the Senate, they got the House, they got all these judges, they got the Supreme Court, and they still not happy. You would think they'd be the most ecstatic people in the world. Could you imagine you get everything you want and then you get there, it's not happiness that go along with it. So you got to think, man, if I can keep on messing with black people, like the more I tell them this, the more and more you mess with us, the more and more you descending into hell. I know they don't teach that in your evangelical Christian churches, but there is a lake of fire and brimstone that Jesus talked about, that in the book of Revelation talked about. Well, there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. And a lot of these hardcore white supremacists think you're not going to the lake of fire where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. You think you actually going to heaven. That's the crazy part. You could have the most evil of the evil and they think they're going to heaven. Are you crazy? The delusion is crazy. No, there will be eternal torment. Do you think the people that sat up here and took the lives of Native Americans, do you think those people went to heaven? Well, what about what you did to black people, enslaved us and did all the horror that you did to us? Do you think those people actually went to heaven? Are you serious? You ain't got to be a Bible scholar to figure that out. Nothing in the scriptures teach you to treat people the way black people have been treated, or Native Americans, or, you know, what y'all did to the people in Latin America, what y'all did to the people in Asia, what y'all done to the people in the Arab world, because yes, y'all have done a lot of horror to them too, what you did to the people in the African continent. Okay. How you stirred up calamity for people to fight each other. You say, oh, these people fighting each other. But behind the scenes, because let me be honest with you, just for a moment. That situation in South Africa, I don't believe that's organic. But I call out black folks because you shouldn't be participating in it. So I'm going to call you out. But I don't believe that's organic. I believe that all that situation is being funded by them folks. And unfortunately, some of our people globally still fall for the tricks. Take the money, fall for the tricks to be against other black people. Because, and the reason why I know that about South Africa, because AfriForum is so quiet. All of them white people, civil rights organizations, AfriForum, they're quiet. They're not saying a word about anything. This would have been, and you know why I knew they got something to do with it too? Is because if I were them, I'll be telling Trump, see how violent they are? Oh, look. That's why we scared. Look what they're doing to each other. They so quiet about it. And that's what y'all black folks in South Africa don't see. So when people like myself tell you white supremacy got its hand in that, all you see is tribalism. You don't get it. You don't get it. What? Listen, I don't live in your homeland, and I don't even get in the inner workings of your tribalism. But one thing I understand is white supremacy. I understand the West, and I know how they move. I know exactly how they move. They've done the same thing to us as Black Americans. They've infiltrated our organizations. They cause calamity. They cause people to fight. But we peep the game, so we know it ahead of time. This is why today we like, no, we don't need no leaders. Why? Why do we say we don't need no leaders? Why we don't want no groups, no centralized groups? Why? Because in the past, they infiltrated, they corrupt the leader, they get the leader to do their bidding, or they get people to fight each other. They send ops all over the place. Look at what happened to Fred Hampton, right? An op sent in to set him up. Where if you don't have no leaders, you're not built on that kind of system, right? Leaderless movements are harder to maintain than a centralized figure, like a Dr. King or something like that. That's why people say, "Nah, I ain't a leader. I'm just a brother." Because you put that term, you anoint yourself as the leader, it comes with a lot of problems. And we shouldn't be anointing ourselves as leaders anyway. We should say, "Hey, I'm just a brother in the community. That's it. I'm a sister. You're a sister in the community. That's it." But to the Karmelo Anthony family, definitely keep your head up much as possible. I know it's tough. I know you see they trying to railroad your son, because I'm looking at it. How they trying to railroad that young brother out here? Doing him wrong. It's crazy. It's utterly crazy. Let me see here. Raphael, shout out to Raphael, said generous heart, kind speech, and life of service and compassion are the things which renew humanity. Say Buddha, said these words define.
Coffee. Follow me.